era for American cricket began in 2021.
There he goes into a dive! What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Oh yeah.
Mic check, mic check.
The 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championships fueled by Sunoco. The East Bay Blazers today looking to break a tie for the last playoff spot in the Western Division in their favor as we approach the home stretch of the regular season. To do that, they've got to go through a team that hasn't lost since last September. The undefeated defending champion Silicon Valley Strikers at 11-0 on the season. A win today would sew up the division title and assure them of a home playoff series as they aim for a return to Morrisville and a defense of their 2021 crown. Welcome to the Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Center. My name's Joe Hickey. I'll be with you today, joined by Suhas Vedam. Suhas, thank you for making the trip up the coast to join us today.
Pleasure joining you, Joe, and very warm welcome to everyone watching. It's going to be a cracker, that much we can promise you. Just moments ago with the toss, East Bay Blazers, they call the right side of the coin, and they said they want to bowl first. Joe, what do you think about that decision first up?
Well, it's certainly in keeping with their general tendencies. They've won 7 of 11 tosses this season. They've elected to bowl 5 of those 7 times, and it'll certainly keep Silicon Valley relatively comfortable. They've only chased twice this year, so they're used to coming out and trying to set up a big total here at Morgan Hill. So far this season, averaging 203 in the first innings on this ground. Yesterday, they would have been well on their way to that, but of course they got stopped because 101 was all they needed after about 10 overs. A undefeated pairing of Unmuk Chand and Rahul Jariwala, and that is who we're starting with again today, the young man and the former India under-19 captain.
As East Bay Blazers always do, give it to spin when they see something in the surface. First ball from Mark Dayal. He's got a lovely high arm action. And right on the money.
Yeah, Dayal's been getting good purchase off of, well, pretty much any surface you put him on. So far this season, 12 wickets rather, for 201 runs. 10 of those have come in the power play, and certainly his ability to take out players of the likes of Sammy Aslam, Karan Chandel, openers for a variety of teams that have been high power, has been instrumental in keeping East Bay on this hot run they've been on as of late.
Your first runs on the board. Rahul Jariwala, it's important for strikers that he also comes into form. Reason being, anyway, it's a very good and stacked side. That will be running away on an outfield, which is a batter's best friend. Rahul Jariwala didn't have to wait much to get his first boundary, and that'll calm the nerves of the youngster.
And we had complaints the first weekend from actually the wives of a few of the Silicon Valley Strikers players that perhaps the outfield was a little bit too lush. The ball wasn't running the way they'd like. Yesterday, no problems at all. Unmuk Chand was skipping it across like a rock across a pond, and then every now and again depositing one into the gravel past us. Mark Dayal, this one here targeting the legs. Rahul Jariwala will flick that one to square leg. Protection out in the deep. That'll just be a single off that ball.
Now Unmuk Chand for the first time in the game. Now will he continue from where he left off yesterday? Absolute fireworks. And it looked like 11 men were just not enough to stop this one. Every time he went through the offside, you were calling that, Joe. Mm-hmm. It just felt like the ball's destined to go to 4.
Yeah, he was absolutely in form yesterday. A lot more boundaries than we're accustomed to seeing from him. He only scores 62% of his runs that way.
This one did a little bit off the shoulder of the bat. He's called for 2. The 2 quick runners in the middle for Silicon Valley Strikers. Yeah, Mark Dayal's kept it so tight so far. Just one that drifted down a little bit, and there was the youngster Jariwala who was able to put that away behind square. Remember, the first 6 overs, just 2 men patrol the boundary rope. Excellent delivery. That's what the coaches tell you. 9 for no loss after 1.
Excellent. 1, 2, 3.
Nine for no loss after 1. Looks like 1 over of spin, and then it's going to be pace from the other end. Nawaz is ready to steam in. as Angelo makes the final adjustments to this wonderful field. He's given a slip. Nawaz has been awarded a slip, and I think the little breeze that's blowing has something to do with it, Joe.
Yeah, well, Nawaz certainly gets a little bit of spin here, and that'll be aided by the slight breeze. It is a little still so far here in the early going compared to yesterday. We've had a few really windy days here in Morgan Hill as of late.
I think the man up there is also listening to you. The son's playing hide and seek now. Oh, lovely adjustment. You got to like the way the youngster negotiates that extra bit of bounce. He knows that Nawaz is a tall man.
Yeah, a little bit of extra height on that one, and Jadiwala equal to it. Yesterday, his best innings of the season so far, and he was instrumental last year up at the top of the order for this strikers team as they worked their way to the championship. This season has largely been hidden in the bottom order. Mostly has been doing his work as a fielder, but given the chance this weekend, he's certainly shown what he can bring to the side again.
Nawaz is all set to bowl the next. Unmukh Chand, who's giving the field a cursory glance, he's taking his own time. Not sure Angelo Pereira would be very happy. That did generate the edge, and the finger's gone up. Unmukh Chand's looking at the surface in dismay. There's one spot that is misbehaved there. Would you believe it? That's cricket for you. One day you're absolutely dominating, the other day the thinnest of edges would see your demise. An important wicket for East Bay Blazers.
Indeed, Unmukh Chand gone for just 2 runs off the bat in the 3 balls he faced. And Suhas, you were saying when we were out taking a look at the pitch that you thought maybe there'd be a little something in it for spinners, a little bit of grass there. Do you get the sense that perhaps Khan picked up a little bit of that in order to get the motion and move that off the edge of Chand's bat?
You know what, you can say that, but with the new ball, I really doubt he was targeting that spot, but there is some live grass. I'm very happy that you mentioned there is some live grass around the good length area. So if you're going to pitch it over there, with a little bit of swing on offer, with a slip in place, and that extra bounce that Nawaz can generate, it's going to be an exciting contest indeed. You can generate those outside edges. And Saideep Ganesh has been one of the best keepers of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Always exciting, and it's one thing that he's learned from the trip to San Diego as well. When you are keeping for Nawaz Khan, you expect the ball to thud into your gloves, but sometimes Nawaz Khan will deliberately bowl it slow and will not give you a counter sign. So you got to stand up to the stumps as much as possible. Just those 2-3 steps in front of the wicket, that'll do as a keeper, because most of the time in San Diego, when the edge was being generated, Joe, it landed just short, and that's an opportunity gone waste. And I think someone like Saideep has learnt very quickly now with a left-hander in the mix, Joe.
Well, and certainly a good thing to keep in mind. This East Bay Blazers team fell by just 2 runs to Silicon Valley the last time they faced off. You were here. I was here as a spectator 3 weeks back, and that game largely decided by issues in the field. East Bay Blazers gave up a lot of extra tallies in the first innings, and they came so close to chasing it down, and it turned out to be some superlative fielding by Silicon Valley that broke a few partnerships and managed to allow them to hold on to that lead.
Absolutely, Joe, and just adding to that conversation, I think the captaincy from Unmukh Chand was tremendous in that game with the field placements. Again, that extra bit of bounce, but Shehan's good enough to tackle this quietly, picks up a single to calm the nerves of everyone in the dugout in blue. And you got to say, in that particular game, the team which fielded better won the game. There were many catches that East Bay Blazers dropped, and they would want to rectify that, especially playing the same opponents.
Well, and certainly the last handful of weeks have shown Silicon Valley just basically showing you every single way you can win a match. You can go for 200 plus in the first innings, you can bowl a team out for 65, or you can just field better.
Was in the air for a long time. Will he get there? David White, well, he's got a bit of laundry to do, but does not get there. Excruciatingly long. As far as the batter is concerned, the ball just hung up in the air, and David White's not the short man that you usually have at mid-off. He's one of the tallest. Outstretched arms usually get the ball. It's one of those moments when Nawaz is thinking, I could either be bowling or the fielder.
Well, Navas in particular, this is a little uncharacteristic for him in terms of power play bowling this season. He's bowled a lot here, but generally speaking, not a strike bowler, more of an economical bowler. Almost 2 in the over.
He's called for 2 right away, and 2 it shall be. There's 2 written all over it. Good work from David White, who's been kept busy in this over. First with a dive on the right towards the left this time. Navas is someone who learns quickly as well. Yeah, he's got to be having that mental advantage of having made the left-hander generate that top edge. Not really comfortable at the moment. Shahan.
5th ball.
14.
And another edge down to 3rd man. Graced by that one also managing to find its way to the turf. That'll be a single to finish off the over. 15 for 1.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom.
Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Mark Dayal will continue now to the left-hander. Shahan Jayasuriya quietly tucks it away for a single, and he's going to be very happy with the fact that he's just discovered there is a middle of the bat indeed.
Well, Jayasuriya has not had to ride his luck a ton, but he's certainly gotten it done over the course of this season, coming in with an average of 71.6, a strike rate north of 150. He's got a pair of hundreds this season, one of only 2 batters that can say that so far on the year.
I wanted to be cheeky, and the secret behind that shot was not to apply power at all, just guiding it. Doesn't have enough fuel to reach the fence, perhaps needs a bit of Sunoco, the fuel that takes you further. Kamilaroo was good enough to get the throw in. And very accurately indeed, Rahul Jariwala, who himself is a keeper, was very wary of how the keeper collected it. And how far was he while collecting from the stumps? Has gone straight into the hands of Mark Dayal. And it's not sweet pain at all. Mark Dayal's been very instrumental in picking up early wickets for East Bay Blazers, and the way he handles the pressure with just 2 men patrolling the boundary rope, Gio, so many things to learn for a youngster watching, isn't it?
I mean, he's just been so very tight in on the stumps most of the time. He's picked up a few wickets in most of the last few power plays he's been involved in. Has gone now 3 of his last 4 matches picking up a wicket. He dismissed Arsh Butch, LBW, last time these two met. Also picked up Pranay Suri a little later in the piece.
Yeah, knowing his efficacy, especially with the left-hander in operation now, Angelo Pereira has decided to stick with Mark Dayal. Can he provide the breakthrough? He's putting a lovely length, and Joe, as you were mentioning slightly earlier, the surface, especially from this end, will offer some assistance to the spinner. There's a wall on the offside, and a cut shot is just not there. He's opened the face of the bat, and he's beautifully guided this one. Kamilaroo has just delayed the dive, and in the end, just escorted the ball to the fence. End of the over.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Leroux with the movement after pitching. Now things are getting spiced up, and I think Lakshmi, House of Spices, would be happy with it. There's some movement after pitching for the tall, lanky fast bowler.
Now Leroux bringing in some swing rather from the left side. Had his first outing in yellow and blue back up in Davis last weekend, or in that somewhat crazy match. He was a little bit on the expensive side, 8.75 per over, 35 off of his 4. Did pick up his first wicket in minor league cricket.
Now with the slip in place, angling it into the left-hander once again. He's got to take the arm on, but only if it was a clean collect. David White has had a mixed bag of a fielding effort so far. The balls are just not being grasped. Buttery fingers today, perhaps. Kami is someone who learns very quickly, and one thing that youngsters watching can also learn from Kami is the fact that it's a right-hand, left-hand combination, so the bowler has to adjust on a regular basis. Extra bounce, so much so that even the keeper found it out of syllabus. No damage done though. This is brewing up to be a contest to watch out for. There is some movement off the deck. Extra bounce on offer. Joe, we're in for a treat. This is going to be a balanced game, I believe.
Yeah, we had a pretty bouncy wicket up in Davis as well, and it certainly gave East Bay some fits in the middle of that piece. So far, we'll have to see how Silicon Valley navigates that.
And it's an interesting battle for Rahul as well, with Unmukt back in the hut. He's got to pace his innings nicely. Rahul. Will he leave it to Shehan, who's at the moment relying on deft touches to score runs? The second run's pure audacity. Shehan gets there, and one of the beauties about the second run is the fact that Shehan himself had hit the ball, so he knew how hard he's hit it, and he'd already calculated with Krishnamurthy steaming in how much time will it take.
And not a trivial thing either. Krishnamurthy, very fleet of foot, and also with a pretty fantastic arm there. We mostly see him deploying it in the form of spin bowling, where you don't necessarily throw it as hard as you can, but he's shown his worth out there in the past.
So far, so good for Kami Leroux. Hurried onto the batter this time, but it's still not a dot ball. The strikers are ensuring that the strikers are able to get at least a single. The dot ball percentage, that can come back and haunt you. The 29 on the board with a ball to go to end the 4th. Kami's done well to starve the strikers off a boundary. And it's a good sign that he's troubled the batters on 3 occasions in this over so far. It's a slower delivery. Nicely negotiated. Rahul wants a second run, but I don't think the second's on. The throw is already on its way. End of the over. 4 gone. 30 for 1 strikers.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
.30 for 1 as we hit the 5th over, and Suhas, we were just discussing the young man Sanjay Krishnamurthy. He is on now from the Barrett Avenue end to take care of business with the left arm spin, and so far Mark Dayal's been pretty effective at holding the team in check. We'll see if Sanjay can do the same.
I like this from Angelo Pereira. He's not only concentrating on the senior pros that he has on the side, but he's ready to groom young talent. Sanjay Krishnamurthy has played a lot of cricket back in Bangalore for Ebenezer School as well. Was very lanky, but now that he's added the power dynamics to his game, he's a different bowler and a batter altogether. Debuted in the Toto Oman in Cricket World Cup League 2, and he's grown as a cricketer from there on. And I like the fact that he's also handling pressure by bowling in the power play. It's the second time he's doing so. He was successful up there in San Diego.
It's the second ball here after a dot to Jadiwala has run down to third man. That'll be a quick single. David White, good diving play to limit it to 1. Continue, Suhas.
Oh yeah, and one more thing that is added to the bowling as a craft is the fact that he's changing the pace so very nicely. And he's one of those very rare bowlers who's not afraid to toss it up even in the first 6 overs when he has limited men patrolling the boundary or limited protection.
You know, and one of the surprising things for Sanjay, as you mentioned, so good against San Diego in the power play, and then not bowled at all against a Golden State Grizzlies team that has struggled against spin. As that one is roped towards the boundary, there is some protection out there on the onside, like you do against Shahan Jayasuriya. That'll just be a single. And so here we have a matchup that sort of encapsulates a good bit of the future, perhaps, of American cricket. Sanjay Krishnamurthy against Rahul Jadiwala.
Yeah, both of them have got a taste of what international cricket demands from them. Rahul Jadiwala. Imagine missing out on a main tournament and then suddenly being called because the keeper couldn't make it to the side in under 19. Cements his place with 2 centuries.
Jadiwala working that one to the man at point. Pair of dots here. Krishnamurthy working it very, very tight so far through the 5th.
You've got to love this battle within a battle. The battle of the youngsters. Jadiwala looking to break free. Krishnamurthy looking to string the dot deliveries together.
Final delivery of the over. Jadiwala turning and swiveling that. A candidate right out of the gate for the Daffodils shot of the match. Guided beautifully and majestically over square leg. That'll be a 6 to finish things off, and it musses up the figures just a touch for Krishnamurthy. 8 off the over, 38 for 1.
38 for 1.
One, two, three.
Carmi LaRue staying on from the San Pedro end of the ground. A decent partnership beginning to develop here between Rahul Jadiwala and Shahan Jayasuriya. For the most part, dealing in singles and doubles. They've done well with the field placements, done well with the bowling lines to try to keep these folks from extending the arms too much. So far, Jayasuriya with one deftly guided 4 down here to third man, just in front of us, and then Jadiwala with the big 6 to end the last over. It'll be Jayasuriya on strike here against LaRue to start the 6th over, last one of the field restrictions.
Once again, Shahan Jayasuriya decides to hit the ball as hard as possible, so much so that he's called for a different pair of gloves, but the willow's gone flying. It's one of those occasions when you want to see the ball go flying, not the willow.
It's a warm day here in Morgan Hill. That's not as you said, not the first time we've seen that from Shahan Jayasuriya. In fact, I think just yesterday, Minor League Cricket's Instagram account, MILC USA, posted a video synced up to...
I think there's a sequel coming up.
Yes, indeed. I don't know. That one was not quite as catastrophic as the one before. This time around, he at least managed to catch his own bat. That one, I think it wound up somewhere around... square leg.
You talk about playing multiple sports, especially when you're coming into cricket, and it sort of helps you when you play other sports as well. Here is a man who's so suited with his shot towards the leg side and mid-wicket, and then the bat throwing for baseball.
Yeah, usually the bat flip after the ball goes over the fence.
Yeah.
But, you know, details. We'll get that worked out sooner or later. A dot ball to start amidst all the excitement.
All this while, when the bat is held in his hand, he's so fluent with his stroke making that he's already notched up 2 wonderful centuries. That's a brilliant Yorker.
LaRue burying that one down at the feet of Jayasuriya. Good work just to dig it out, pick up a single, and get himself over to the non-striker's end. Let Rahul Jadiwala deal with that.
Now Rahul Jadiwala is looking good after scoring that 6, and now would be interesting to see how he handles the extra pace and bounce from this end that Carmi LaRue is generating. It's good to see that Nawaz, while he hands over the ball to Karmi, has also given him a word of advice.
Comes LaRue, third ball of the over, and again there is that bounce, a little bit of the length pulled back. Saw a Yorker last ball, and now he comes up and buzzes the tower. Rahul Jariwala ducking out of the way and lives to fight another day.
Rahul Jariwala was absolutely clear that he doesn't want to attack this one, especially with a man in deep square lurking. They've got to see that Angelo Pereira has got the field right, especially with Kamil Leroux bowling with the angle that leaves the right-hander.
We've seen already his willingness to try to run the ball down to third man. That one there, a brief fending at that, nearly a wide, but nope, just one left from the over, so that is indeed inside the tram lines, and Jariwala flirting with danger.
Jariwala, who was quite concerned for a moment. Reason being, he was ready to duck out of it and realize he's only gone as high as his pads, and not even that. Just tells you there are some demons to exorcise, yeah, on this surface. Kamil Leroux is generating some swing as well. Swing and add to that lateral movement after pitching with variable bounce. This is cooking up to be something very exciting.
And one down the fine leg side, and Rahul Jariwala has had his day come to a premature end. It's going to be 21 off of his knock as he ladles that one to the man at fine leg.
I'll tell you what, Joe, it is a planned wicket. For a man who was expecting something again outside off, and for a man who's so instinctive in going leg side, it is a planned wicket with fine leg up in the circle, bowling into his hips. Second blow for the strikers as they lose the surviving opener.
39 for 1 now with one ball left before the fielding restrictions come off. We'll tell you about the new batter when we come back.
Both hands in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Zahid Zakil, a story for the world to take notice. Now this southpaw, exciting as ever, up against Karmi.
So far 4 innings on the season, a 37.5 average for Zakil, and a willingness to take big rips like that. There's going to be a misfield out there in the deep. Initially, Jayasuriya had turned down the opportunity for the single, but they will take it instead. Final ball, as we mentioned, of the fielding restrictions. Power play done and dusted, 40 for 2. Beginning of the 7th over, 40 for 2, our scoreline here for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Batting first so far this season. When batting first, especially here at Morgan Hill, very pyrotechnic, scores up in excess of 200, and they're not quite on pace for that at the moment, but the day is young. We will see where it goes from here, and they've got 2 men absolutely willing to unleash the unchain the shackles and try to hit it to all parts in Jayasuriya and Zahid Zakil.
The left-hand combo, will it bring good luck to the strikers? Would it score the runs that has been demanded from them? Zakil's quite content in picking up the singles. In fact, he initially thought he's got to wait a little bit to open his account. That little misfield from David White meant that Zakil would be breathing easy. Now picks up his second run with the single. Shihan Jayasuriya now has got to shift gears as well, with Zakil being a new man too.
Well, Zahid Zakil will be looking to follow up on his last performance here in Morgan Hill, a 72 opening the batting. Just his third innings at that point of the season. He had opened against Houston and put up a 40. Had come in at 4 like he has today against Michigan Cricket Stars and put up a 30. So pretty much wherever you put him in the lineup, he can do damage. Krishnamurti staying on from the Barrett Avenue end. That one in the air. Krishnamurti gets a hand to it, but that's just going to deflect it to the man at long off.
Well, that'll be painful, not because of the impact, but because of the fact that this isn't a catch.
It can be both.
Yeah, it can be both indeed. I'll tell you what, that's a big reprieve. How much will Shihan Jayasuriya come back to hurt the East Bay Blazers? You don't want the same script to be unfolding again. If you're East Bay Blazers fan, that is because a lot of catches were dropped against the same opponents, and that's what caused the difference in the end.
Yeah, in the game against the East Bay Blazers 3 weeks ago, Shihan Jayasuriya picked up 86 runs. You're looking for the same here. That one popping up, a big heave and a miss from Zakil. And scrambling there with Saideep Ganesh, perhaps thinking about a stumping. Zakil had just lost his balance a little bit and tipped over the crease line.
And slightly early into that shot as well.
As you mentioned before, Krishnamurti, an expert already at varying his pace. Unable to get too much behind that. It'll be another dot ball, 3 on the trot after the 2 singles to begin the over.
Just the kind of overs that East Bay Blazers wanted.
Another big swing and a miss. Did he come out of his crease? Indeed he did. The signal from our umpire, and that is the end of the day for Zahid Zakil. It is a short one. Unable to keep his feet and his wits about him. After a couple of swings and misses, Saideep Ganesh cleans him up.
Saideep Ganesh, who was itchy to get a catch or try and convert a catch out of the previous 2 deliveries, gets an easier opportunity to get the batter out. Zahid Zakil leaves home, gets stumped. That's a lovely length as well, and the fact that Krishnamurti watches the batter till the very last moment to see if he's venturing out has paid off.
And Zakil certainly an aggressive man out there. We saw him dealing in boundaries in that match 2 weeks ago against Golden State. He departs for just 2. That's the end of the 7th over as well, 42 for 3.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Inbox Pranay Suri. Zahid Zakil. That was very easy to get going, actually. 3 dot balls strung together. That means he had to do something. And that is exactly what the East Bay Blazers were planning as well. And when you get dot balls after dot balls, you do put pressure. It doesn't really matter if it's a new man or no.
Well, we commented just in our discussions pre-game, Suhas, that Silicon Valley have somewhat adjusted their general approach to things as of late. Up until this point in the season, largely it's been... sorry, excuse me. Sorry about that, folks. Frog in the throat. So far, it's kind of been bish, bash, bosh, and we've seen a little bit of a little bit different here. They got restrained against Seattle by perhaps some demons in that pitch in particular that were giving even Seattle more trouble than Silicon Valley had. But they may have to get this done a slightly different way. The man now at the crease joining Jayasuriya is Pranay Suri. They've had some useful partnerships in the recent past. Went for 50, in fact, for the big partnership of the very limited innings against the Seattle Thunderbolts.
The captain decides to roll his arm over and starts off well. Angelo Pereira, not a good, in fact, not a bad time to come in and bowl. Knows that his team has just got a wicket. There's a new man in operation, and he's going to be a righty. Angelo Pereira.
Well, I have been a little interested. Pereira has... Pereira's been a little bit on the... conservative side about how much he's bowled himself as of late. He's been very, very effective in the power play. I'll talk a little later about the impact stats that Tom Nielsen has, but they tell an interesting story about what Pereira is worth to his team as an innings progresses. Middle overs, usually pretty okay, as that's another dot ball there. Very good at the death, and generally has had to decide as of late, don't bowl himself in the power play. Nearly cuts the right-hander Surrey in half with that delivery.
Now, ever since Kamai has come back, and just for the class of Kamil Leroux, not just the craft of his, he's so good in the power play.
That went right back past the stumps. Nawaz has that at long on. It'll be a single.
And that means Angelo Pereira does get an opportunity to bowl with more cushion in the deep. Angelo Pereira, now all around the world, they know him as the T20 cricketer, the T10 cricketer when he was with the Braves. 60 of just 29 balls. What an innings that was with one of his teammates right now, Mark Dayal, in Abu Dhabi T10. But you go back to Sri Lanka and talk about Angelo Pereira, they tell you, oh, the Angelo Pereira, who has a double 100 on either innings of a 4-day game.
This goes to show your familiarity changes what you think about a guy's identity.
Yes.
Vikash Mohan handling that in the deep. That'll be a single to finish off over number 8. 3 from it, 45 for 3.
All right, 8 overs gone, 45 for 3. What a turnaround this has been. East Bay Blazers stemming the flow of runs. Just as we speak, one poor delivery put away with ease. That'll break the shackles too. Shehan Jayasuriya quick to pounce on anything even marginally short, and that was sitting up to be hit away.
And you wonder there whether that's a strategic choice or if it's just that finally Sanjay Krishnamurthy bowled something at a length that he could deal with. But so far, Sanjay has been very, very limiting to the Silicon Valley batters.
Nice way to start the over as far as the strikers are concerned. They'll get some momentum off it. Now Shehan, little shimmy and then goes outside off. Doesn't want to make himself a candidate for LBW. Just plonks his front foot outside the line. These are the little things that so many can learn from Shehan Jayasuriya. The way he utilizes the crease. Even though he did walk outside to confuse the bowler, didn't attempt the shot. Sanjay Krishnamurthy watching the batter till the last moment, still throwing it a little wide. Covers moves 5 yards inside now to become a catching position. And the ball goes straight to him. Off the ricochet, would only be a single. Arnav gets the throw in. When you get a boundary first ball, Joe, it sort of allows you as a batter to breathe easy as well, because you know a couple of singles over here and 6 runs the over. At a rebuilding phase, 6 runs is fine.
Yeah, for sure here, and you want to be careful with the aggression too. We saw a little bit of this yesterday from the Golden State Grizzlies. They got themselves in a bit of a hole, started trying to dig out of it, and saw both Shiva Mishra and Mohit Nataraj go bang, bang, gone. Couple boundaries, and then their wicket taken on the very next ball.
That was very audacious to be appealing. Even he knew that in our game, just 3 stumps are there. You needed 6 to even try and appeal there. Pranay Suri would be feeling at ease as well with that boundary being scored of Shehan Jayasuriya. First ball from Shehan. That means Pranay gets a little bit more time to get going. Doesn't have to attack every ball. Shehan didn't realize that it would bounce as much.
Yeah, again, that bouncy surface providing all sorts of demons here. We've got only one more ball left in the over. Krishnamurthy to Jayasuriya, and that is going to miss everything. Bat, wicketkeeper gloves, stumps, perhaps most importantly. It's going to be a bye to finish off the over. 52 for 3 by the skin of their teeth.
That was a good one.
1, 2, 3.
Strikers would believe that this rebuilding phase is being led by the right man there, Shehan Jayasuriya. 51 for 3 after 9 overs. They lost Unmukh Chand early today. Jariwala was looking promising with a couple of good shots, ducking away from the bouncer as well. Then eventually was gone. Kamilaroo bowled excellently. We've got an action-packed 9 overs, Joe.
Absolutely, and promising quite a bit more here. As we mentioned, Surrey and Jayasuriya rather have put together some decent partnerships already this season, and
Beautiful shot.
that is absolutely beautifully guided through the covers. Jayasuriya starting to feel himself.
Excellent shot. And there is some elegance every time the left-hander leans into a drive and gets it right. Mind you, there was protection in the shape of the captain, Angelo Pereira, diving towards his left, but in vain as the ball just sped past that outfield. Arshdeep Brar, remember, has that extra bit of height. Again, that bounce factor will be in play, but gets to the pitch of the ball. Does Shehan Jayasuriya, the all-weather man for Silicon Valley Strikers. I initially wanted the single. Pranay was more interested. Mind you, Shehan Jayasuriya, another touch player, knows how hard he's hit it. It's got to be him to be calling for those sneaky singles.
Yeah, I don't want to throw away an innings quite like that. I was about to say, Surrey, it's worth noting, his batting has come along pretty nicely in the middle part of this season as well. Very much overshadowed by the wicket taking he's done as of late.
A little stutter this time for some reason from Surrey, but eventually we'll get to the other end without any resistance, as the throw is also an underarm lob. Angelo Pereira, very athletic. Oh, he's barged into the umpire. He's marched into the umpire. Little did he know, he was so fixated on the fielder getting to the right area. And he himself becomes a cover now for the right-hander.
You know, in the NBA, he might be gone.
It's called for the second run here, but the second would be a hallucination. Arshdeep Brar has come back well after giving away a boundary first ball. And as far as Shehan Jayasuriya is concerned, yet again gets a boundary first ball and allows Pranay Suri to bloom by not taking the additional risk. He could just quietly nurdle it along the ground and pick up a single. That's what Pranay does. Last minute adjustment to the field from Arshdeep Brar. The fielder at points slightly become backward point. Oh, that's a good idea. To use your feet, not let Arshdeep Brar get settled. And in the virtue, try and explore new areas by accessing the gap better. A single to end the 10th over at the halfway stage. 60 for 3, the Strikers. Who's bowled 2 overs and gone for 17. Very unlike Mark Dayal figures. He's been handed the ball in search of the 4th wicket for his side. Oh, that is a lovely delivery. Big appeal. The finger that matters has stayed down. The batter who matters for the Strikers stays put.
The hands on hips for Mark Dayal at the end of that. Rather disgusted by the lack of grace given him by the umpire, but perhaps the right call.
Interestingly, Saideep Ganesh took a little bit of time to join in that appeal. Joe, are you a supporter of an appeal being decided by decibel levels to try and get to your side? You've handled so many classes, you've handled so many classes with students who are not the quietest. Tell us a bit about the appeal in decibel levels.
No, it's absolutely true. Class-wise, you do get some loud, wrong answers on a pretty regular basis. But certainly in something like that, as reflexive as it is, you would think that Saideep Ganesh, having the best seat in the house to try to see whether that ball was impacting or headed towards the stumps, if he's not immediately up for it, that's a clue.
Okay. As an umpire, it's very difficult to stay in the zone, isn't it? With so much happening, and sometimes the deafening noise as well. You've got to find the finest of edges. A thankless job indeed, but we've got some terrific umpires.
Yeah, sometimes has me wondering when you got the Barmy Army going, whether part of that is just like, let's just get some sonic camouflage here and see if you start hearing things.
Mark Dayal calls it off. The mission will start again for him. And the gentle, polite that apology as well. He's very polite with the apology, not so much with the appeal, and that's the right way to go in cricket. Mark Dayal, and usually completes the overs very quickly, and that's what makes him a good friend of the captain. Now it's good to see that Shehan Jayasuriya is not trying to steal a single every time. He knows when there is a run, when there isn't. That went quickly to Nawaz at backward, at short fine leg.
Very decisive no.
Interestingly, well, of course, Krishnamurthy would have been the best to judge if it's a catch or no, but interestingly, with the angle at which the ball went to him, looked like with his athleticism that he's usually known for, he could have got there.
Yeah, I mean, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, very quick as a boundary rider. It was one of my first impressions of minor league cricket, period, was watching him run around in front of me about a year ago this week.
Pranay Suri is quite content to play that dot delivery. End of 11, 63 for 3.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Spin galore, and that's what you expect with East Bay Blazers. As soon as Angelo Pereira, who's a spinners captain, realizes there's something for the spinners in the surface, he will not hold back. Arshdeep Brar to continue. The first over went for 7, owing to that beautiful shot through covers for 4 from Shehan Jayasuriya. Now gets to bowl at the same batter. There was a very good over from Mark Dayal that Brar is inheriting. Can he continue with... Oh, a shot of this kind would mean it's going to travel the distance. That's gone through the tent.
Somewhat aided by the fact that we had to put a few little holes in it to begin with to keep it from blowing away on the windier days in Morgan Hill, but no protection anymore for the spectators for sure. That one ripped through like nothing was there.
I tell you what, if Shehan Jayasuriya targets the same tent at least a couple of more times the next 2 overs, that tent is as good as the one that we have right now.
Yeah, I'll open up a skylight in it for sure.
Glorious shot. Nobody move. Give your work a lick and a promise. Watch the genius bat. One shot from the coaching manual, the other shot for his own liking. Oh, wow. He could turn gears.
I was about to say, 4 overs into this partnership, they'd managed only 21 runs. Not an awful run rate, but not what we're accustomed to seeing out of them. The stabilization was there, now the attack.
Oh, he's had enough as a left-hander. Wants to be righty. He'll get 4 more. He is leaving no part of the ground unexplored, and Arshdeep Brar is literally confused every time he's run into ball in this over. Suddenly, the balls are disappearing. This is an important over in the context of the game. Mark Dayal has just given away 3 runs in the previous over. That meant Arshdeep Brar had to keep the pressure on, and suddenly a flurry of boundaries would mean Shehan Jayasuriya is on top. The strikers are on top. Oh, that's a better delivery. Just manacling the batter to the crease. It's because of that extra height and the angle at which he brings the ball in. You will get that last minute dip when you are so vertically blessed as Arshdeep Brar. Now he's playing to his strengths. Joe, you understand that a couple of shots, yes, were terrific. One from the coaching manual, one over long on, even though you had a fielder at long on. The batter backs himself, gets a 6. But what about that switch hit for 4? As Pranay Suri eventually picks up a single and keeps the scoreboard ticking as well. End of the 12th, we'll keep the chat alive with Joe. 79 for 3.
Sorry, we'll pick that up.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was the last ball. Yeah.
On 79 for 3. Silicon Valley Strikers. This partnership is blooming. Joe, the change in gears is going to be very soon, and I think Shehan Jayasuriya is just waiting for that one good boundary from Pranay Suri, which will sort of indicate that the change of gears is there. This innings is going to progress.
Yeah, certainly at this point, 12 overs in, 79 runs on the board, still going just a hair over a run a ball net, but the acceleration well and truly underway from Shehan's side. And as I mentioned, Suri has had a couple of 20 and 30 run scores as of late, very useful with the bat alongside the bowling that he's been able to do. They're going to be facing off against the youngster Arnav Iyer, fresh off of participating in the MILC Youth tournament this past week. He was joined, in fact, by a number of other players from a variety of Bay Area teams. The Golden State Grizzlies' Nihal Desai and Anish Deshpande were involved in that. Also Samson Bhatti, Adnesh Tundale, and Devam Srivastava from San Diego, all of them suiting up as East Bay Blazers for a week in order to get that participation. So he comes in from the Barrett Avenue end. First delivery to Pranay Suri, flared off to long off. That'll be a single to start, and he continues to happily turn it over to the man presently in form.
Arnav Iyer gets an opportunity as Rusty Theron misses this game. Arnav Iyer is coming off a great performance, and as far as his side in the youth minor league setup is concerned as well, was able to put the brakes on the opposition by stringing them down, to pinning them down to 130, but unfortunately weren't able to chase it down. That means that the bowlers did do their job, and Arnav Iyer, in there as a bowler, would be expected to pick up a wicket. What I'm very excited about is the fact that the keeper, Saideep Ganesh, has decided to stand up to a bowler who's got that extra bit of bounce going.
Certainly want to have Nawaz Khan looking alive back there in case he's got to chase one. That one drifting off the offside. That's going to be a wide. Ganesh does well to get to it.
Shehan Jayasuriya, with the form that he is in, I really thought he would chase that ball. Reason being, the covers is inside, and he's someone who loves to go inside out. If he gets width on offer, usually puts it away. And the man at covers, Angelo Pereira, who's played a ton of cricket with Shehan Jayasuriya, would tell you.
Iyer steaming in for what will be the second official delivery, and that is a delicate touch back towards the advertising boards. A very fine third man shot, and that rolls off to the boundary. 4 for Jayasuriya. He continues to roll.
Yet another half century for Shehan Jayasuriya, the all-weather man for Silicon Valley Strikers. The man who was personifying power just moments ago has now decided to go with a delicate touch to send the ball to the fence. Or Shehan Jayasuriya. He can handle an infant one moment, an elephant the other.
Shahan, who had the back-to-back hundreds down in Texas, came back here, had a 63 and an 86 in his first weekend at Morgan Hill, 4 consecutive 50-plus scores. Had not broken the barrier since then, although he did run up to 49 and 46 in 2 of those matches, so always productive, as anybody who owns him in Cricket 11 Fantasy will know. That one run down to square leg. They'll take the second. Good sliding play down there by Sanjay Krishnamurthy, again showing off the athleticism to prevent that from reaching the boundary.
Well, Sanjay Krishnamurthy at times just masquerades as 2 fielders in one, doesn't he, with the amount of ground he covers, and so quick to get to the ball as well. You talk to him and ask him about the theory of fielding. He says just attack the ball in straight lines.
It is the shortest distance. That one lifted in the direction of Krishnamurthy, but it's going to split him and the fielder out at long on and find its way over the boundary. That is another maximum for Shahan Jayasuriya, and as we said, the acceleration well and truly on for Silicon Valley strikers now.
He now knows the field like the back of his hand. Shahan Jayasuriya, there was a sense of ease with which he hit it. It's much like a spitting cobra. Doesn't want to inject more venom because he knows how much is required for that particular prey. Didn't go all in on it. Still concentrates on timing, but gets the gap right as well, and the ball sends the ball sailing for 6.
Gives you a sense of how strong he is, too. Yeah. Siraj Viswanathan told us that's the bigger side of the ground today. There's a flick directly behind, and it's a foot race that will not be won by Vikash Mohan. Another 4 coming right back to us and rolling by our scissor lift. 3rd boundary of the over for Shahan Jayasuriya, and he's showing us just about every way to get it done.
East Bay Blazers would sort of put a petition that they need a whole squad in to field. Their 11 men are just not enough, and a batter is playing shots of this kind. There is a fielding position called the long stop, which has been a long time since we've seen in cricket. I think with Shahan Jayasuriya, nothing's off the table.
Well, if you put him there, he would just hit it where you vacated. That one knocked into the ground, and brief hints of perhaps a stumping opportunity, but nothing doing. So a dot to finish things off. I've got to do a little bit of math on that one. That's 17 from the over. And so 97, 18, 97 for 3.
98 for 3. Oh yeah, 97 for 3, sorry. This one takes a little bit of time to load. Okay, thanks.
"13 overs gone, 97 for 3. Mark Dayal gets a change of ends. Would it bring a change in fortune for him, who's been desperate for a wicket here? 3 overs 20. Not a wicket to show for a man who usually deals with many wickets. Here is Dayal.
Looking to be the partnership breaker here as that one's flared toward the man at cover. Angelo Pereira to his right. No problems there. A dot to start here against Pranay Suri. This partnership beginning to bear quite a bit of fruit. We told you 20 through the first 24 balls, but Shahan Jayasuriya dealing in boundaries as of late. Suri runs that one back behind square leg. They'll look to take the second chance at the wicket keeper's end, but unable to collect.
Usually the keepers love to take it on the bounce, but that was too close for comfort for Saideep Ganesh. One moment wanted to pouch it and tame it, the other moment wanted to sway away from it.
So what you're saying is that was a length ball from the outfield, pretty much.
I'll tell you what, with Saideep Ganesh, instead of the gloves, you put a bat in his hand, he would have replicated exactly what Shahan Jayasuriya did moments ago.
Which one?
Behind the wicketkeeper. The one that teases the wicketkeeper, much like you're wearing a sari.
Quick single out to Sanjay Krishnamurthy at mid-wicket. That'll turn the strike back over to Shahan Jayasuriya.
Shahan Jayasuriya, the man who's been dealing in bigger denominations, and that's what has allowed Pranay Suri to take his own time as well, mind you. When your partner is striking at 155, you know that you've got a little bit extra time to try and nurdle the first one into 2 at times and look for the gaps rather than go for glory shots. What's been good to see from Pranay Suri, who's of course an extravagant cricketer himself, who has all the shots in the book, is the fact that he hasn't tried to match someone like Shehan shot for shot. He's quite content feeding the strike to Shehan Jayasuriya, who's at the moment the record-in-chief.
Yeah, if you're going to keep feeding him, he's going to keep eating. I want a dot ball back to third man.
With Mark Dayal, he's very quick and he's as straight as possible as well. I think he's one of those spinners who gets you with the illusion of spin. Sometimes it's not the extravagant spin that gets you the wicket, but the little bit drift that gets you the wicket with the outside edge.
Yeah, just making it harder for just for judging it in the air. Where is that going to pitch? Do I move my feet? Ooh. He moves his feet there. Again to cover. Again, the captain, Angie Pereira, up with it. Shehan, you mentioned the 155 strike rate right now. The scary thing is, as impressive as he's been looking here today, that's his average strike rate on the season. So he's just been doing that for 6 weeks now.
Shehan Jayasuriya. I think you turn to Oxford Dictionary and you'll have a synonym for consistency called Shehan. End of the over with that single, gets through the overs quickly, Mark Dayal. He completes his quota of 4 with 23 and no wickets to show, but he's at least kept it tight. Shehan Jayasuriya continues the prod. 100 comes up for Silicon Valley strikers with that single. 102 for 3, I beg your pardon.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
A 102 for 3 in 14 overs. Pranay Suri, 8 of 12, is taking his own time to bloom and blossom. Shehan Jayasuriya is going good. At the moment, the strike rate of Shehan Jayasuriya has dropped a touch below 150. Someone whisper it to him and he'll make sure that he listens.
Well, Nawaz Khan back in for his second over of work. He bowled once in the power play, and it was a solid over. 6 runs from it, and the wicket of Unmukt Chand.
What a shot.
That one guided to long off. It'll be a single to start for Pranay Suri. Well handled, that ball. At least off the bat, looked like it was going to travel a bit further than it did, Suhas.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what got me. I really thought that was racing away to the fence of long off. I'll tell you what, it's the higher part of the bat, but it was the first sign of aggression from Pranay Suri, who was quite content nurtling the ball. The first time he's extended his arms to go for a big shot.
Well, the luxury here as we approach the death overs is you have the likes of Roshan Primus, Gary Graham, Raymond Reefer waiting behind you, so you know you can be a little more expansive. You can think a bit more about trying to play your shots, and if you get out, there's still some backup there as we approach the death overs.
Excellent analysis, Joe, and that's what probably gives license to many a batter to not waste any balls. I think Zakhil was too sucked up into that, perhaps going for that extravagant shot early on in the innings, because you know the kind of cricketer that he is as well. That's the flip side of it. But once you approach the death overs, I'm absolutely with you on this one, that you've got to up the ante when you know the likes of Gary is waiting to and raring to go. Shehan Jayasuriya has found the gap. And the ball will win the race, as it so often does. The bat percentage, that sort of is improving every time he's playing a shot not out of the coaching manual but from the supplementary sheets.
Well, sooner or later, Angie Pereira's smart captain, knows what he's doing out there, is going to adjust the field to try to take away what Shehan started out doing, and so you got to get inventive.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, and now, of course, he's in strike.
Now, on call, Joe. I think Angelo Pereira is listening to you. He's put a very conventional third man, rather fine leg. Conventional third man and fine leg.
That one lifted in the direction of that fine leg, but it's going to get down in front of Arshdeep Brar. Good play to reach up and snag that before it became yet another 4. It'll go down as just 2.
Shehan Jayasuriya is very concerned that it didn't go for 4 as he gets some more time to think and ponder on that one at the non-striker's end. Now Pranay Surya showed an aggressive shot which didn't come off. Would believe this would be the delivery. Pranay Surya, mind you, has got some terrific centuries under his belt in the club level.
There is that aggressive shot trying to beat Sanjay Krishnamurthy. Long run for him at the cover boundary, but he will get to it. Limits that to just a single.
That's been bread and butter for Pranay Surya today. A lot of singles. Shehan Jayasuriya. Be breathing easy, knows that he's got a boundary in this over, but would be hungry for more. That's been his state of mind in the entire tournament. Oh, that's gone straight up in the air. This is begging to be taken. Angelo Pereira. No, in fact, someone else, but the catch is taken. That's more important for East Bay Blazers. Shehan Jayasuriya's scintillating innings has come to an end. 69 of 45. Hungry for more. Gets it from the worst part of the bat. The ball skied up in the air and he knew immediately that he was a goner. But what a good innings this has been from Shehan Jayasuriya, the man of the moment.
And now the question will be, which card do they draw from the deck? Is it too early for Gary Graham? Do they go to Reefer? Do they go to Primus? Graham frequently somebody who bats those last couple of overs and goes at that ridiculous 260 strike rate that he has at the death. It appears that it's going to be Raymond Reefer that joins us at the crease and partners up with Pranay Surya.
Not Raymond Reefer. Terrific with the ball in hand and equally adept with the bat. A leading run scorer for Guyana in 2018-2019. That's what got the world talking about him, especially in the regional Super 50. Now this is the shorter version of the game, and he loves to go straight down the ground. Wouldn't have the time to get going, but he's got to be a busy player. This could work in the favor of East Bay Blazers because they got to believe one brings another. They've got the big fish. Can they pick up another?
And certainly the fact they presently have pace out there. Obviously the last delivery is going to be faced by Pranay Surya, but Angelo Pereira has begun bringing the quicks back into the attack after a decent spell of spin. Reefer feasts against pace, so we'll see if they continue with that. A swing and a miss from Surya on the final ball here of the 15th. Death overs upon us. 6 from that, but the wicket of Shehan Jayasuriya, 108 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
In the direction of Vikash Mohan. And Reefer is off the mark. For Silicon Valley, the acceleration coming in overs number 12 and 13 in particular. The Shehan Jayasuriya, a cluster of boundaries after some studied work between him and Surya against the spin bowlers, forced the change of bringing in some more pace, and they do finally get him, though, with Nawaz Khan. Swing and a miss here from Pranay Surya off the second delivery of the over from Pereira.
A different role for Angelo Pereira today with the ball in hand. I mean, it's something that he himself decides. But he's been effective, just as we say, a poor delivery, and that's been put away. That one was growing wings as it went. But this is why Raymond Reefer has been sent in as well. Get into a good position and smash the ball away like that.
When Pereira, for his part, I was starting to tell the story about, based on Tom Nielsen's impact ratings, basically this idea of what is your value over an average player. Pereira, so far this season, has been the 6th worst bowler in minor league cricket by that metric in the power play, the 7th best at the death. In fact, his plus-minus rating basically cancels itself out between those two phases. And he's a little better than average in the middle, so he's had some good contributions so long as you use them in the right times. That, on the other hand, is not the ideal result here at the death. Back-to-back boundaries as that one reaches the fence for 4 to the offside.
That efficacy metrics is going to change after this particular spell. They're going for runs at the death as well.
Rules and equations were made to be broken, Suhas.
It's good to see there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to statistics, and it's good to see that all of them is coming out, and just at the right time.
Well, it's certainly a useful way when somebody, is racking up stats. It's tough to tell sometimes. Am I looking at a wicket taker that's cleaning up the tail, or a wicket taker that's, absolutely hamstringing a team in the power play? This one in the air. Will the park hold it? The answer is no. Vikash Mohan, fetch. A second 6 on the over for Surrey.
Effortless. Very effortless. Pranay Surya started to bloom. In fact, the first 6 was also hit by Pranay. I got it wrong by saying Raymond. And here comes the second. The first one was stylish. This one was elegant.
Yeah, considering they're not very different heights, and neither one has a number on the back of their jersey, I'm thankful one's a righty and one's a lefty. Otherwise, I'd be at C. Final deliver of the over coming here. An expensive one from Pereira. That's coming right at us. Will it get there on the fly? It does not, and Brar unable to swat it back over the boundary rope. That's going to be another 4. 4 consecutive boundaries, 20 for Surrey off the over, 21 for the team, 130.
Pranay Surya has accepted the baton from Shahan Jayasuriya to provide the big finish. Starting to prosper just at the right time.
My mistake, I may have recorded a wide as a dot ball earlier. That one, a swing and a miss, and that ends the over officially. That dot ball, my apologies for that. 131 for 4 with the extra wide tacked on. Four overs remaining in this first innings. 131 for 4 the count for the Silicon Valley Strikers, looking to make this a total that will hopefully engender a chase like the one we saw 3 weeks ago here today. Suhas, if you're captaining here, what are you targeting for a final tally here off these last 4 overs if you're with the Silicon Valley Strikers?
Well, looking at the way the surface has behaved, and mind you, it's not going to change much, is what both the captains believed at the toss. You were there, and I'll be looking at 160, at least with this kind of start they have, with 6 wickets in hand, perhaps more, is on the cards. But 160 looks to be par on this track.
First ball into the body of Raymond Reefer. They'll scamper a quick single there. No bat on it. It'll be a leg by. Reefer still with just the 1 run off the 3 balls he's faced. Navaz Khan remains in from the Barrett Avenue end. So we saw earlier, we noted that with Reefer in, maybe you want to go more the spin route here, but they turn to the spin bowling, and Pranay Surya comes up and just absolutely murders it. That 20 runs in keeping with what he's done all season at the death, a 177 strike rate in contrast to his 126 overall.
He's a man who bats the situation, doesn't he? Slightly early into this one. He's called for 2. But only a single would be available. Now is it going to be Reefer time?
As we said when he came in, pace is his preference. You take a look at his strike rate against spin, it's about a 106. Against pace, 207 on the season. This is the time and the kind of opponent he relishes.
The stance suggests that he loves to go leg side. He's not someone who's very keen on going inside out. Not someone who usually prefers a delicate touch.
Right back past Navaz Khan. I think he got a piece of that, and that'll keep it inside the park and inside the rope for a single. 3 off the first 3.
Just get a feeling with the lengths that are being bowled right now. Nawaz Khan's quite content in doing the damage control. He doesn't want a crescendo finish for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Not quite sure if it's a wicket-taking delivery. He's bowling a lot of cutters, which he's known for, of course. I think it's that zone of the game where the spinners are trying to bowl quicker, the pacers are trying to bowl slower.
That is very quick and very gone. Pranay Suri has turned on that one. Another 6 for him, his 3rd in the last 6 balls he's faced. And Suri is seeing everything well. Spin, pace, it doesn't matter.
Oh, Pranay Suri gets into a lovely position and so early launches into this one, and that travels. Perhaps the first time he extended arms to Nawaz, it didn't get from the best part of the bat. Now after that one, got a lot of confidence in the previous over against Angelo Pereira by clobbering 20 runs of it. Now any part of the bat is the middle of the bat for him. Just at the right time, Pranay Suri speaking as well, and that is what makes Silicon Valley Strikers so relentless and difficult an opposition to face. We were discussing that, Joe, just before this game began as well. New heroes emerge every time.
Yeah, you think you've gotten, you've taken care of Chand, you've taken care of Zakil, you've taken care of Jayasuriya, and next thing you know, Suri's jumping all over you. Another big expansive shot, that's going to hang up in the air though, and is taken at mid-off. That's going to be the end of the day for Suri. So, the aggression has a tendency to bring that out. But you've got one guy batting out of his mind for a little while, and you're going to replace him in all likelihood with Gary Graham in a moment. And so just more firepower, just too many tools in the shed.
Pranay Suri departs for 37. Gets it slightly higher on the bat, and a simple catch indeed. But he's played his part there. Pranay Suri, 37 of 22. He'd be mighty proud of his effort for a man who started off slow as he watched Shehan go big guns at the other end. Gary comes out to the middle. Someone who's prepared the pitch as well. I think we were joking before the game began. You get to set the syllabus. You get to write the examination yourself. Gary comes out to bat.
And Gary instrumental here, the work done on the ground staff at Morgan Hill. And kind of exemplary of a lot of the folks here in minor league cricket. People wear different hats in order to bring this tournament to life and keep trying to grow cricket in America. It's been an absolutely banner year so far. I've enjoyed it. We've got playoff races going every single division. There's something interesting, whether it's a battle between first and second, or from it for Reefer at the end. 141 for 5.
1, 2, 3.
$141 for 5 after 17. As far as the East Bay Blazers are concerned, they've got 2 new men in the middle, the strikers. And East Bay Blazers wouldn't mind that. Raymond Ray for 3 or 4. Gary Graham yet to open his account. But the reputation that they come with, it's sort of, I think it's the last time we're seeing leather on the ball, unless Kami gets it right. And Kami would believe that he can get it right. Well, 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. We've been treated with cricket every weekend from all parts of this wonderful country. Now, pace on the ball is something Reefer lives by. Will he thrive against Kami, or will Kami get the better of him? Nicely spiced up this contest. Didn't get it from the best part of the bat, didn't get it from any part of the bat, it seems. We'll wait for the umpire's signal. Nothing, so there was some willow on it. Gary Graham, who speaks one language and has absolute irreverence to the boundary rope, up against a man who is generating extra bounds. That takes you further. He's hurt himself in the process. Oh, this is not looking good. The first initial 7 seconds are very important. It's not like he thud into the ground. It's just that his knee got stuck a little. Looks all right. Puts his right arm up to suggest that he's all right. He's an integral part of the side.
Navas Khan selling out for that one. Somebody who he can give you the power play overs, he can give you the late overs, he can score you apparently 20 off the final over sometimes if you need it, and absolutely sells out for his team out in the field.
The slow ball bouncer, I think it's got something on it. Yes, a shot that Djokovic would have been proud of. Get some part of the willow and a good collect. A good and stacked side. That'll be running away on an outfield, which is a batter's best friend. Rahul Jariwala didn't have to wait much to get his first boundary, and that'll calm the nerve. That did generate the edge, and the finger's gone up.
Team out for 65, or you can just field better.
Was in the air for a long time. Will he get there? David White, well, he's got a bit of laundry to do, but does not get there. That shot is just not there. He's opened the face of the bat, and he's beautifully guided this one. Camille Roos just delayed the dive, and in the end, just escorted the ball to the fence. End of the over, 23 for 1. Together.
Final delivery of the over, Jariwala turning and swiveling. That a candidate right out of the gate for the Daffodils shot of the match.
Variable bounce. This is cooking up to be something very exciting.
And one down the fine leg side, and Rahul Jariwala has had his day come to a premature end.
Jesus wanted.
Another big swing and a miss. Did he come out of his crease? Indeed he did.
Stemming the flow of runs. Just as we speak, one poor delivery put away with ease. That'll break the shackles too. Shehan Jayasuriya quick to...
Jayasuriya rather have put together some decent partnerships already this season. And
beautiful shot.
That is absolutely beautifully guided through the covers.
Prad is inheriting. Can he continue with... Oh, a shot of this kind would mean it's going to travel the distance. That's gone through the tent.
Yeah, I'll open up a skylight in it for sure.
Glorious shot. Nobody moved.
But not what we're accustomed to seeing out of them. The stabilization was there. Now the attack.
Oh, he's had enough as a left-hander. Wants to be righty.
Iyer steaming in for what will be the second official delivery, and that is a delicate touch back towards the advertising boards. A very fine third man shot, and that rolls off to the boundary. 4 for Jayasuriya. He continues to roll.
Yet
it is the shortest distance. That one lifted in the direction of Krishnamurthy, but it's going to split him and the fielder out at long. Swanathan told us that's the bigger side of the ground today. There's a flick directly behind, and it's a foot race that will not be won by Vikash.
He's waiting to and raring to go. Shehan Jayasuriya has found the gap. And the ball will win the race, as it so often does. The bat percentage state of mind in the entire tournament. Oh, that's gone straight up in the air. This is begging to be taken. Angelo Pereira. No, in fact, someone else, but the catch is taken. That's more important for East Bay Blazers. Today with the ball in hand, I mean, it's something that he himself decides. But he's been effective, just as we say, a poor delivery, and that's been put away.
In the middle, so he's had some good contributions so long as you use them in the right times. That, on the other hand, is not the ideal result here at the death. Back-to-back, absolutely hamstringing a team in the power play. This one in the air. Will the park hold it? The answer is no. Final delivery of the over coming here. An expensive one from Pereira. That's coming right at us. Will it get there on the fly? It does not, and Brar unable to swat it back over the boundary.
These are trying to bowl slower.
That is very quick and very gone. Raymond Reefer, Pranay. Next thing you know, Surrey's jumping all over you. Another big expansive shot. That's going to hang up in the air, though, and is taken at mid-off. On selling out for that one. Somebody who can give you the power play overs. He can give you the late overs. He can score you apparently 20 off the final over sometimes if you need it. And
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
$167 for East Bay Blazers to get, and that mission will begin shortly. It's not going to be an easy road, but they believe they've got it in them and the batting prowess to get to 167. I'm Suhas Vedam, joined by Joe Hickey. Well, we're in for a cracker of a game.
Well, the East Bay Blazers certainly have put up amazing fights in their chases as of late. 5-2 on the season when chasing a total, and most notably against these Bay Area teams. They admittedly the first time against the Grizzlies had a pretty small total, made a little bit of a hash out of it. It became more dramatic than it needed to be, but since then it's just been high quality batsmanship. We've seen it against the Strikers. They came just 2 runs short. We saw it against the Grizzlies last week in Davis. They managed to get over the line when it looked like all was lost, down to their final wicket, down to their last 6 balls needing 20, and Nawaz Khan took care of business. So top to bottom, they've got the ability to get it done, but it does start here at the top.
167 to get, and it's one of those games when Nawaz Khan would believe his services with the bat in hand is not required and shouldn't be. David White's in great touch. Saidip Ganesh is an all-round player. Very exciting to watch and very busy player up against the quality of Saurabh Netravalkar, who's got wrists like gold. That wrist work of his makes the ball talk, and more often than not it's in a language that a batter doesn't understand. Mind you, 2 men can patrol the boundary rope in the first 6 overs. It's the first power play, a slip in play. Saurabh Netravalkar to Saidip Ganesh with nice low hands from the Bangalore School of Cricket. First ball. Nicely behind this one, straight into the wall on the off. It's a watchful start.
And Suhas, you're looking here at, I think, arguably one of the best opening partnerships in all of minor league cricket. This is a pair of batters that, first off, in the power play, are on average getting to about 56 for 1 this season. They've had 3 where they've survived all the way to the end of the power play, both of them. They've got partnerships of 74, of 94, and of 100. And up until now, those were the 3 best opening partnerships in the NorCal, I think actually in the entire Western Division. Unfortunately for them, they just got pipped yesterday by that 101 not out, as that went off the shoulder of the bat, risking a potential early dismissal, but falls harmlessly in front of Reefer. But definitely a pair of guys here that can get it done. Ganesh usually a little bit more of the pusher up front. White tends to be a little more circumspect and warm his way up into an innings, but either one of them can be match deciding.
It's one of those opening pairs which sort of tells the world that one would be the aggressor and this is who it is. And the one to bat through more often than not would be David White. And still, the teams find it difficult to curtail them. And I'll tell you what, the best part about this partnership or this opening pair for East Bay Blazers is the fact that the management has given them the license to bat their natural way. Saurabh Netravalkar, known for his swing and extreme precision, starts off well against David White. Very often in our game, you would see the batter walk to a vacant area where he could talk to himself, and that little pep talk is to make sure that he's in the zone, ready to concentrate for the next delivery.
Netravalkar, here you mentioned, just statistically, it boggles the mind a little bit. A 4.29 economy right now is 3rd in all of minor league cricket. His average, which is sitting right now at 6.5 runs per wicket, is the best in the league. His strike rate, 8th in the league. An absolutely elite bowler, and of course, USA international.
Yeah, more often than not, he's away on national duty, but it's sweet pain relieving someone like Netravalkar for Silicon Valley Strikers, because they found a combination which can win them the games without Netravalkar. With him, becomes even more dangerous. But for Saurabh Netravalkar, who doesn't play the fair share of the games in 2022 Toyota minor league cricket, to be churning out figures where he can pick up a wicket every 6 runs he gives away is just tremendous indeed.
So strength on strength here with this opening partnership against the kind of bowlers. They have a lot of left arm quick bowling for Silicon Valley up front. We'll see whether they go to Singh or Reefer next. That's been the pairing without Netravalkar. They've fielded all 3 of them since Saurabh's come back.
There's once a stage in the game of cricket all around the world where a left-arm seamer was supposed to be luxury, and today Silicon Valley strikers are sporting 3.
We've said the rich get richer every now and again with them, especially when Saurabh came back, and especially when Raymond Reefer became their wild card substitution for Mohammad Irfan Jr. After a couple of games. Yeah, it just seems like the dominoes keep falling the right way for them.
Would you believe it? Mohammad Irfan Jr. getting sent back. Just tells you how well this team is stacked then. But East Bay Blazers would want to forget all that and bat the way they naturally do. They got close in the first game, would believe they can close this one out in their favour. Didn't bounce as much. David White's a tall man. He's looking at the surface in dismay. It is a tidy over from Saurabh Netravalkar, just one of it, 1 for no loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
'22 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. And 2 left-arm seamers will start the proceedings. Saurabh Netravalkar, the international quality from one end, and the man who has got nerves of steel, as we called it, against the same side in the final over, defending paltry runs, meager runs. It's Kulvinder to steam in from the commentary box end.
Of course, having talked earlier about Saurabh Netravalkar's spin, Kulvinder takes it to a whole other level frequently early in the innings. So look out for that one coming back in onto the pads potentially for both Ganesh and White. A little bit unusual, not used to facing quite so much left-handed pace, but it's coming at you in spades here.
No slip in place, interestingly. With the amount of wind blowing, the gentle breeze has already picked up. Very interesting that there is no slip awarded to Kulvinder Singh. Can he earn it back with a couple of wafts? That's a poor ball, and it was never to be seen again. Saideep Ganesh is holding his pose. Kulvinder gets a wake-up call right away. It was a warm-up delivery, it felt like.
And Ganesh, somebody who likes to deal in boundaries, whether it's pace, whether it's spin. 68% of his runs this season coming by way of 4s and 6s. So not unusual, especially early on. 9th 6 of the season.
And East Bay Blazers have been blessed with an opener of his kind. Someone who is a very busy cricketer. Loves to take the attack to the opposition. Difficult to set a field for him. This, of course, was a poor delivery when was asking to be hit away. The full toss, but he stuck it away in the right area. Would be running away to the fence for 4. 10 runs at the first 2. Kulvinder under pressure. The hard yards put in by Saurabh Netravalkar from the other side by giving away just a single in his quarter of 6 balls of the first over. All that hard work has been undone in just 2 deliveries. Kulvinder Singh yet to pitch the ball on the surface.
And what a joy to watch Saideep Ganesh here. Somebody who really wasn't used nearly as much last season with the Golden State Grizzlies, kind of stuck behind Karan Chandel in that wicketkeeper role. I know I got to see him against the Hollywood Master Blasters, but perhaps a game where you try out some folks that aren't seeing much time. There's another beautiful shot through the covers. Saideep Ganesh, 3 boundaries on the trot.
The ball's in the balance now as he threads one through the offside. I tell you what, for someone who comes with the reputation of going unorthodox more often than not, Saideep Ganesh is a terrific cricketer when he sticks to the coaching manual too. And the hunger for runs is just showing in his eyes as he's not content with the first ball disappearing for a 6. He wants more and more. If it's in the slot, he'll go after it. It's good to see that the youngster is playing the ball and not the bowler. Kulvinder Singh, he emerged a hero. He emerged a hero against a similar opponent. Against the same opponent, in fact. He's gone for 14 in his first 3. And more runs this time. Would it be taken? Oh, almost did. Almost took the catch. Kulvinder had his arm up in celebration. 9 out of 10 times would have taken the catch. He's done the hard yard there to reach the ball. That's the difficult part. But once he reached it, couldn't cling on to it. Zahid Zakhel, usually a terrific cricketer. Usually a fantastic fielder, not on this occasion.
Well, it seemed there too that he may have also been bitten a bit by the turf monster the same way Nawaz Khan was. You notice the way he's pulled up his the leg of his cricket pants there. I think he may have created a divot, and that certainly had something to do with him dropping that catch.
That's much better. Kulvinder Singh has finally found the right rhythm, the right line and length. It's taken him 4 balls to do so. The third one was, yes, an opportunity, but this is the one that will make him feel much, much better.
When Suhas, that drop out there in the deep, the kind of break that did not go in East Bay's favor last time these two teams met. In terms of fielding, is East Bay having their issues and Silicon Valley pulling rabbits out of the hat to break partnerships?
Yeah, here is a magician back at it. He's gone for many a run in this over, a flurry of boundaries, but here is Kulvinder Singh coming back with 2 good balls to end the over. 2 overs gone, 15 runs of it. East Bay Blazers 16 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Saideep Ganesh, nice low hands once again, moves, does a little shimmy and misses it completely. Saurabh Netravalkar is someone who loves to swing the ball as well. We've talked about it, been harping about the fact that he's one of the best wrists in the world to deliver that cricket ball. Now with the slip in place, it's looking very, very good for the bowler. The breeze is also helping him to try and take it away from the right-hander. I think things are stacked up against someone like Saideep Ganesh, who loves to break free. I won't be surprised if he takes a little bit time here to get going, because Saideep is someone who's got to believe that he can cover up. These are the little phases in the game. He's put in the hard yards, but this one slightly up in the air will be taken. Saurabh Netravalkar is playing it down. He's not celebrating at all. It's as if all in a day's play. And the little battle, just what we were mentioning. Saideep Ganesh should have taken a little bit more time and believed in himself to cover up later. He's checked his shot in the end and was a simple catch.
And certainly I would imagine even the presence of the slip in a moment like that starts getting you in 2 minds about what might the ball be doing, what do I need to be prepared for, what do I need to defend against. Just a moment of indecision. As you said, sort of a half-hearted shot, tried to pull away from it and ends up with the ball ladled straight to Unmukt Chand directly over the bowler's head.
Saurabh Netravalkar was so sure that it will be taken that he didn't turn back.
Well, there are a few surer pairs of hands in all of minor league cricket than those of Unmukt Chand.
Yeah, Unmukt Chand diving to perfection and taking that splendid catch. on this occasion gets something that he'll take 10 out of 10 times.
Now, Suhas, we talked a bit about that first opening partnership between Ganesh and White and what they've done this season. The fun part for the East Bay Blazers has been that once you do dislodge one of them, it's out of the frying pan into the fire. Mark Dayal has been striking at 191 inside the power play, and by Tom Nielsen's impact ratings, is among the best power play batters in all of the league. 8th ranked in total, 6th ranked inside the power play.
6th ranked inside the power play. And here's a man who scored 55 of 19 in the season opener versus the Seattle Thunderbolts. Coming in the middle order, that's after power play.
And to do that against Seattle, too, we've got a sense now of what the quality really is of that bowling attack. That's an impressive knock.
Mark Dayal wants that single. Now Mark White, well, David White wanted it too. The only problem there is that both the batters wanted the same single at different times. Ball didn't bounce as much, and that will be an encouraging sign for Silicon Valley strikers who've already batted on the surface. They don't need to worry about the ball bouncing low.
Yeah, we saw a handful of deliveries eat people up in that first innings.
It's sort of confusing for a man who's built so well, like David White, to guard his shin or guard his chin. And loud and clear, no, that's much better. Improving by the minute there, East Bay Blazers. David White, as he so often does, takes a stroll all by himself to regather, to recalibrate, and remind himself that it's going to be him to anchor the innings. If 167 is going to be an easy route, David White has got to step up.
And generally speaking, Silicon Valley only bowl Netravalkar these 2 overs in the power play. They save 2 of him at the death, so a chance to maybe even just try to see out these last 2, make sure no further damage comes. You've already had success against Singh. Maybe get ready to target him.
Perhaps no, if it's there in the slot, he will go after it. Roshan Primus looked very uninterested and the ball was flying further away from him. But the dot balls did get to him. But I'll tell you what, I do agree in some parts to that, because he's picking and choosing the right balls to do so and not targeting every ball, because he knows that compared to Kulvinder, who had a poor start with the ball in hand, Saurabh Netravalkar has already found his rhythm. So it's important to target the right delivery. Now, Saurabh Netravalkar is not someone who usually follows the ball, but he's decided to go with a mid-wicket, which is as conventional as possible.
Even with the David White 4, that's just 5 runs so far off of Saurabh.
Yeah.
Back at his best, Saurabh Netravalkar teasing the outside edge of the batter. David White lets it go eventually. 3 overs gone, 20 for 1, the East Bay Blazers.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
'22 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. And Reef has decided to assume charge with the ball in hand here. He's got to provide the wicket. He's already got great reputation and is in great form indeed. Back in Seattle, he was the one who was a wrecker in chief, Raymond Reef. I want to continue that form here. A 20 for 1. I'll tell you what, despite an expensive over from Singh, in the 3rd over, Saurabh Netravalkar keeping it tight after that boundary means 20 for 1 in 3. The game is still in the balance. With the wicket playing tricks, the game is still in the balance. Mark Dayal for the first time will face, and would be interesting to see how he's going to deal with his countryman in the power play. Given the fact that an early wicket has fallen, will Mark Dayal bat the way he usually does, not caring about the score or the surface, but his natural game? Gets bat to ball right away. The calls for two, and two it shall be. Raymond Refer is very agitated by the fact that that went to an area which was uncovered. That went to an area where Kulvinder Singh took a bit of time to get going and get to the ball eventually. Joe, why do you think Raymond Refer is furious?
I mean, I wonder whether some of it could be effort. Some of it also might just be the decision of who you're putting where. Kulvinder Singh, most of this season, I've noticed, is usually back behind, a place where you might not have to cover quite as much ground out there on the lateral part of the boundary. And so maybe just a question of the choice of personnel.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot indeed. That's a shot that you can't set a field to as well. Go straight down the ground and make it look so simple. It's very demoralizing when a pace bowler runs in and realizes the ball's flying away with great pace, as much as you imparted on the ball.
Well, this is Dayal's bread and butter. He comes in today striking at 200 against pace on the season. 104 runs off of 52 deliveries, and so far that's 6 off 2, so he's even outdoing that. Very impressive stuff from Dayal. He enjoys this. Might start to change the mind in terms of strategy at this point. Do you go to the spinner? You've got Pranay Suri available. No Srinivas Raghavan today. One of the two changes made. No Raghavan, no Thadani. In place, we've got Rushil Ugarkar, who would be having his first action of the season if he does indeed come in. The other addition is Zakil, who we saw earlier.
The extravagant swing. He's decided to go after Raymond Refer. The first one was so classy and minimum effort. Lovely result for Mark Dayal. This one was a little audacious. One thing with the paces in operation is the fact that a batter gets a little bit more time to regroup. He would have told himself that, Mark Dayal, watch the ball and play shots of this kind. Will Refer get to it? Oh no, it's Primus. Primus gets there. But no damage done, as if it was a free hit. Would you believe it? That was heading towards the fence. Primus. And it's going to be a free hit again. The free hit continues. The free hit continues as Raymond Refer has misbehaved with his front foot yet again for the umpire's liking. That will be signal no ball. It's a free hit as well. And to top it off, Raymond Refer is down on the ground and is holding his calf. Primus, I beg your pardon. Primus is hurt. Would you believe it?
Well, he's been fighting a hamstring injury that he picked up down in Barbados for most of the season. And so we'll see if this is something new or a re-aggravation of what's been bothering him.
It's what could be good news for Silicon Valley strikers is the fact that Primus is back on his 2 feet. He's walking and not hobbling. But he's got to be making himself available as an option with the ball in hand as well. And that's what would be going through the mind of Unmukh Chand.
As we mentioned, down a bowler with in terms of the experience with Srinivas Raghavan not in the team today, or Dev Thadani. Really does cut down on the options at this point. We might see a bit of Chand or a bit of Jayasuriya having to get in there out of necessity if Primus can't go.
The Silicon Valley strikers can definitely find someone as a replacement for Primus as a fielder, but not as a bowler. Oh, what a shot this one is. Straight down the ground, full of authority. Raymond Refer has been taken to the cleaners, but more often than not, it's been straight down the ground. That's been so effective for East Bay Blazers.
And Mark Dayal having to get out of the way. I had flashbacks to the Henry Nicholls circus dismissal a couple of months ago in New Zealand versus England, banging it off of the bat of his fellow striker, who ladled it right to Ben Stokes. I don't know what it is about weird deflections in New Zealand-England games, but...
You got to say, Mark Dayal deserves at least 2 of those runs then. Yeah, that's our game of cricket, isn't it? With the ball in hand, you tend to run towards the ball, rather as a fielder. Now with the bat in hand, as a non-striker, you got to get away from the shots. Raymond Reefer is also someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, so you will get those emotions. He's quite a character, and that's what makes this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship so wonderful to watch. You get a lot of good characters. The slower Yorker, nailed to perfection. Now Raymond Reefer keeps the pressure on. You can't decipher it from the arm speed. That's not changing. How do you pick the slower Yorker?
You just hope you can stop your momentum just enough. You got to try to keep that bat in the arc as long as possible and hope you get something on it. Otherwise, you are dead plumb in front.
Catch it is the call, just over the fielder at point. And in the first 6 overs, there's no stopping that once it clears the infield. Much needed boundary. 3 boundaries of that over. Raymond Reefer proving expensive. 4 overs gone, 37 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
And so far here, East Bay Blazers on their way towards a total like what they usually get in the power play, somewhere in the mid-50s for the loss of 1 wicket. That's been their average, but it's been in fits and starts. They've just managed 1 and then 4 off of Saurabh Netravalkar, but for the bowlers coming from the San Pedro end, Kulvinder Singh, Raymond Reefer, they're still looking for a solution to that.
I'll tell you what, if they get to 50 for the loss of 1 wicket, they would take it. In a chase of 167 with the wicket playing tricks, Kulvinder Singh's got a change of ends and would want to believe it's a change in fortune as well.
He'll be facing off with the left-hander Dayal to begin this over. David White over at the non-striker's end. Dayal so far 7 off his 4. He's got his first boundary already in the book today.
This game of cricket is such a good leveler. You can't rely on your reputation. It's about how you turn up on that particular day, and that's something that Unmukh Chand would have instructed his boys. Otherwise, it's difficult to keep a streak of this kind.
Absolutely, and I just think just the re-establishment of focus. You know, Reefer loses a wicket due to a no ball, goes for a 4 on a no ball, comes back, hits a Yorker right at the feet of David White, nearly dismisses him. That sort of it's a wide on the first delivery here from Kulvinder Singh, but that sort of ability to refocus yourself and make that next delivery and try not to live in the past. All that you have is what's in front of you, and this team day in, day out, whether they're defending tiny totals overall, tiny totals in the final over, they get it done. Here comes Singh here, second delivery to Dayal. That one's sprayed over to fine leg. Up with it, Pranay Suri. A dot here following the wide, and again, solid delivery following up a misfire.
That's something they've got to curtail as well. When the things are not going your way, you look for momentum in whatever you could take it from. Unmukh Chand and Co. at the moment are searching for momentum, and 2 good balls could provide the momentum. That's hit so very well. Long off, long on will get around it. Long on runs all the way to become long off to get around it.
Again, the motor out there in the deep of the captain, Unmukh Chand, who was so important in the field during the first matchup between these 2 teams. Having to put in some hard yards, too, just going back and forth between those 2 positions here in the power play with the right-left combination now at play with White at one end and Dayal at the other.
David White, he's not the quieter of the 2 as he usually is due to an early departure from Saidip Ganesh, who again got a start. Meant that he has to go after the bowling as well, like he does this time around, easing into the drive, and the drive will fetch him for.
Splitting the cover fielders beautifully and finding yet another boundary. David White continuing to motor along. White will face the next delivery here in a moment from Singh. Coming around the wicket, thought about that one, decides to let it go back to Jetiwala. That will be a dot ball here, just 5 runs so far from the frame. Singh steaming in again, trying for that area between mid-off and cover. Devthadani up to the challenge there, as we mentioned here, not available to bowl today. He's in as the emergency fielder, and so in all likelihood getting a look at him in place of the injured Roshan Primus, currently seeking care. Comes the final ball of the over. That one is just barely wide of a leaping man at cover. Zahid Zakil cannot hold it in. It's another 4, and that's going to do it for over number 5. 1 left here in the power play, 47 for 1.
That was extremely close. Zahid Zakil again targeting the boundary, targeting the ball rather, with a lovely leap. Once again, something that we discussed, Joe. Run towards the ball, cut down on the angles. That's what Zahid did. Despite that, the ball races away to the fence. Well timed.
The last ball boundary. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
%80%. For that reason.
6th over, final one of the power play, and we're going to see our first introduction of spin from the San Pedro end. Pranay Suri on to deal with Mark Dayal and David White. Suri, of course, as of late, has been a dynamo with ball in hand. Just narrowly missed becoming the first minor league cricketer ever to have 2 5-fers to their name, because Usman Rafiq did it also that morning. But he's got a 6-fer that he took here against the Golden State Grizzlies 2 weeks ago, followed that up with 5 taken against the Seattle Thunderbolts in the first game there, and just continues to mow men down. And he'll be looking to try to break this partnership. The East Bay Blazers so far this season have yet to lose 3 wickets in the power play.
Tells you that they've been getting solid starts, and even if they're losing early wickets, the players coming in at number 3 are batting very freely.
There is immediately one back over the bowler's head. Long run, not gonna get there at the straight on boundary. 4 to start the over off the bat of Mark Dayal.
The perfect way to start an over as far as Mark Dayal is concerned. Momentum with East Bay Blazers.
And that brings up the 50, 51 for 1 now for the Blazers in this pursuit of 167.
Now Pranay Suri's got to pull it back into his zone. That's a much better delivery. Mark Dayal's content picking up a single, knows that he's got a boundary first ball. He's quite content to feed the strike to David White.
Pair of boundaries in the last over for White, so certainly starting to feel himself a bit. He tends to slow down just a little bit against spin bowling this season, but can be useful when he wants to be.
David White loves the pace on the ball, and once he gets that extra bounce as well, because he has that height, he's able to get through the infield, much like we saw with the shot over point. Any other cricketer who's not vertically blessed might have ended up hitting straight to point.
Comes the delivery from Suri. This one now shot looking again for that same sort of gap that he hit twice in the last over. Good diving play by Gary Graham will limit that to a dot ball here. Now, pretty much everything White has touched has turned to gold this season, nearly averaging a 50 at this point, 46.8 for a strike rate of about 1.5 runs per ball.
Anything that White has touched has turned to gold. Such colorful commentary.
I knew there was a reason I liked you right out of the gate. Single to White, 2 balls left on the over, 6 so far from it. Dayal's 4, putting them in good stead. Final couple of balls of the fielding restrictions. Pranay Surya as Dayal scampers back to give himself some room. Inside outs that one. Long run for Jaya Surya as that works its way towards the boundary rope. Won't get there. 2 the early call and 2 taken.
The plan was definitely there to go inside out. I thought he gave it away too early. Still went ahead with the plan. It's one of those picnics that you decide to go ahead with despite the damp weather.
I was a little concerned this morning. I got rained on a little bit coming down here. Didn't threaten a no result or anything, but here comes Pranay Surya. That one is going to split Zakil and the square leg umpire and work its way to the boundary for a 4 to close things out. So a productive over from Dayal.
Oh, good shot. He's picked the gap nicely. It's important from the batter's point of view that you know the jersey that you're against. That almost took out the umpire on its way.
And so we said before, 56 for 1, the average so far this season for East Bay Blazers. They finished the power play 59 for the loss of 1 wicket.
It's important that you treat the power play really well. The chunk of the runs have to be scored at the power play, especially against Silicon Valley strikers. And that's what East Bay Blazers have done so well. Despite losing an early wicket, that confidence and positivity that they had in batting has come through. I think that would have been discussed in the meeting as well, with Angelo Pereira yet to come. Another solid batter. Vikash Mohan, a finisher who would believe he can get things done if given an opportunity this time around. You've got to have that positive mindset despite losing an early wicket, and that's exactly what David White and Mark Dayal have subscribed to.
Well, and Pereira, when he does come out here, is going to be looking for a little bit of a rebirth this season. He started out so strongly, hasn't gotten over 20 for his last 4 innings. So with any luck, we'll see a little something from him. But for the time being now, fielding restrictions loosened, getting ready to start over number 7. And it does appear we will have more spin coming from the far end, and it's going to be Rushil Ugarkar, who is entering here for his first action of 2022. We did see a little bit of him, the youngster, in 2021. Bowled 15 overs for the Silicon Valley Strikers last season, 4 wickets taken for 121 runs in that limited action. As I said, gets his first look today in this 2022 season. Reminder here, 2022 Minor League Cricket Championships brought to you by Sunoco. And of course by title sponsor Toyota. Let's go places. It'll be David White on strike. And he turns on the first delivery from Ugarkar, a rude greeting to the 2022 season. David White depositing his first ball over the square leg boundary for a 6. Ugarkar, we mentioned the replacement in the lineup today for Srinivas Raghavan. The other change being the departure of Dev Thadani in favor of Zahid Zakil. So a little more batting, a little more fielding in place of some pace bowling. And we did mention that with Roshan Primus currently on the sidelines following that attempt to take a catch back in the 4th over to back up Raymond Reefer, possibility that they may find their cupboard a little bit bare. A 6 off the first. Let's see how Ugarkar comes back from that. White giving himself room. Ugarkar goes wide, and White manages to beat the man inside the circle. Will be taken by the protection at the boundary, though. Zakil able to limit that to a single. That'll bring Mark Dayal on strike.
Yeah, in a star-studded side like Silicon Valley Strikers, every opportunity that you get, you got to be 100%. That is exactly what Rushil Ugarkar would be telling himself. But it's important that he's kept in the right frame of mind as well by the captain so that he can absorb that little pressure that he'll have of performing.
East Bay, meanwhile, thinking about having perhaps someone here to target. With the embarrassment of riches, Silicon Valley have. Great ball there on the 3rd, so a great comeback. The last 2 deliveries from the 6, managing to flummox David White by going wide when he thought it was coming in at him, and then burying one in on Dayal. A 1 and a dot to follow the long bomb 6. feet protection all in front of Mark Dayal as this one is delivered. Dayal turns, swivels, and destroys. That one headed towards the pavilion. A second 6 on the over, 13 from it, and 2 balls still left to bowl for Rushil Agarkar. A tough start to 2022 for him.
That wasn't marginally short, but that was very short for Dayal's liking. He just loved swiveling with the angle. And swivel has been his bread and butter.
These 6s in the over here, East Bay now within 100 of the total. Dayal now with a nice flick. That one splits the fielders behind on the offside and runs away for 4. Third boundary of the over, and they are taking quite a liking to Rushil Agarkar.
A wonderful shot. He's almost expecting the ball to be in his zone there. They are outsmarting the bowler by making him bowl full, utilizing his space to send the ball for 4.
So when he's been short, he's been clobbered. And Dayal there able to make good use of the length on that last one. That's a good one. It is a flick behind and caught by Jadiwala, and that will be the end of Mark Dayal. A lot of fire and fury, but it's over quickly.
Mark Dayal gets a start but throws it away. The moment he's tried to go hard at a ball, it's generated the outside edge. Rushil Agarkar has the last laugh. Mark Dayal, who's scoring at 223, will find himself back in the pavilion. A start not converted. 29 of 13. It's still a good innings. He's chipped in with runs. But given the situation, had to continue also due to the prowess of the side they are playing today, the East Bay Blazers.
So with that, 7th over done and dusted, 76 for 2. Right. Seven overs gone. East Bay Blazers 76 for 2. The run rate, not a problem right now. They just need 7s from this point forward, but they do need to make sure they maintain their wickets. A second one down here in the form of Mark Dayal and Angelo Pereira in at 4. He'll be looking for, as we said a little bit earlier, a bit of a turn in his fortunes. Last handful of games, he's gone for 19 against Golden State, 9 against Silicon Valley last time he was here. It was Raymond Reefer that got him. 11 against San Diego and 4 against Golden State last weekend. So it's been a far cry from what we saw from him in Texas, that 58 that he hung on the Lone Star Athletics. At the moment, a bit of a distant memory.
Would be easy to get another big innings under his belt. No, Angelo Pereira has got the international experience. David White, he's got tons of club cricket experience. And mind you, there are 2 senior batters for East Bay Blazers, 2 game changers out there in the middle. Pranay Sori knows that. He knows the importance of a wicket at this stage.
I will say they have unbalanced their team just a little bit in favor of bowling. I'm looking down the lineup past these 2. You talked about Vikash Mohan. He's worked as a finisher. Sanjay Krishnamurthy, we know, has the potential, but he's really been off song so far this season with the bat in hand. And past that, you're looking at Brar, Kyra, Arnav Iyer, Karmi LaRue, and Nawaz Khan. And Khan showed us what he can do last time around. It was the first big score he'd posted in minor league cricket at that point. And the rest of them largely unproven. Arshdeep Brar's had a big start, but that was in the final game of the season with nothing on the line last year. We'll see what happens here. Surrey a dot off the first. Now the switch hit attempt from David White didn't get all of it. That's going to dribble to the man over at square leg.
I like this from Pranay Suri. He is tossing the ball up and bowling as slow as possible. The surface will assist you if you go the slow way.
When you mentioned during the innings break to me, Suhas, that Sanjay Krishnamurthy seemed to be the only person even trying that for East Bay Blazers. And I think you even said at the time that Surrey, the kind of person who's going to notice that, take advantage.
So far so good for Pranay Suri. You've got to have a big heart as a spinner as well, isn't it, Joe?
I would just imagine, yeah, coming up there with these big rigs at the other end, looking to hit you out of the park and just float it. Like that, that just seems like, yeah, that is going to require a serious constitution.
Up against a man who comes from the land of spin, Sri Lanka. Quite adept against spin, but of late has been getting out to the spinners. Now was always looking for a single.
And Pereira off the mark off of his first delivery faced. Yeah, having a look there at his recent results, or his results for this season. Actually, so far this season, doing okay avoiding getting out against spin. 38.3 the average. His average against pace is 10.2. That one worked to the onside. David White off at the single, holds up the stop sign. They won't try to take two as Chan comes crashing in from the boundary.
Now Unmukt Chand, very dynamic. He can field almost everywhere, and as a captain, he's setting an example for all the other boys as well, that you've got to be ready to get to the ball from all angles. The flip side of that theory is that in T20 cricket especially, you try to have a specialist fielder at slip, at point, at extra cover. But that's quickly changing, especially in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. That is exactly why I believe this tournament is a pioneer in certain ways. We've seen the way that smaller totals are being chased down as well. It's different tactics, and we'll keep the chat alive about that. 8 overs gone, 80 for 2.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
$80 for 2. East Bay Blazers on course for 167. The captain Angelo Pereira finds himself in the middle with David White, the surviving opener. And Raymond Rafa, and he gets a change of ends, but no change in plan. Attack the wickets, pick up wickets, be relentless. The East Bay Blazers, they would really want Angelo Pereira to click at this stage, because it's been one of their pet peeves in the entire tournament. The captain sets an example by leading from the front, having runs against his name. This could look like a different side altogether, and they couldn't find a different time than this for their captain to come good.
Without doubt, and it's including that, the consequence of it has been that East Bay is one of the very few teams in the league, and for that matter here in the Western Division, that tends to slow down their run rate here in the middle overs compared to the power play.
Oh, fantastic dive, but the ball sneaks through. Now, Angelo Pereira and David White would be feasting on singles and converting the singles into twos, because both are very quick runners between the wickets. Now, Unmukt Chand will have to find a way of curtailing the singles for a moment. Otherwise, easy runs could be given away, is what I feel. Joe, is it that phase of the game as well, where you try and look for singles and convert them into twos because the wicket has fallen? You got to be staying up to the required rate as well.
Right, well, and you've got the fielding restrictions released, yeah, so getting it in the air is a bit more dangerous. Certainly a place to be a bit aggressive. Pereira's got some good wheels between the wickets. White's faster than he looks like he ought to be at his size. And both of them can certainly put that pressure on. And the nice thing right now, we mentioned at the start of the last over, they only need 7s from this point forward. So certainly a situation where just 1-2 each over keeps you chugging right along at the rate to get.
I absolutely agree with you, and this little change in pace. Angelo Pereira on his toes despite the ball not being bouncing as much as expected. Angelo Pereira itchy for a good innings under his belt. Sometimes when you're preparing against an opposition and you prepare against an individual, you have your own plans. Do you also take into account the mindset they come with? Because the reputation might read a different story. But form, which is foremost in cricket, it's something that Angelo Pereira has been searching for. It's a quiet state of play, the quiet period of play, with both batters who have the prowess to go for the big shots. One of them scored those boundaries at will as well, David White. Both of them are sticking to singles at the moment, with the field widely spread. Oh, this one wasn't convincing a single. This would be more. By the time Rushil dispatches the throw, 2 runs have been taken. It's 2 for the shot, in fact.
Well, indeed, Ugakar on that one, I think, got a little bit of a piece of it as it tried to scoot through, just enough to slow it down. That may have found its way to the boundary, or even for, at the very least, 3 runs, had he not gotten that small piece to it to slow it up.
Yeah, that piece of leather needed a little bit more Sunoko. The fuel that takes you further, with the destination being set as the boundary rope on that occasion.
Wind presently picking up here as that one scoots by David White.
And that means
1 ball left in the over.
The commentators are going to field some pens which have flown away.
I'll say based on the direction that my highlighters are going, the wind seems to be going to right to left from the angle that you're watching at home.
Is David White listening to you? That's the bigger question.
Small end of the ground with wind at your back. Tee off. Not just yet, though.
Would you believe it? Joe's highlighters could make it a highlight package as well. It all depends on what the batter does. If he listens to Joe, who's been throwing out golden nuggets now and then. 9 overs gone. 85 for 2.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
.16 and yet to find the wicket. He could be a handful, but he's sticking to the same end as well. I'd be happy to see him experiment from the other end too.
I think that's where you mentioned you saw the rough that might help out a spinner coming from the Barrett Avenue end at us. Single to start there for Pereira, continuing to try to mount up runs. 5 off his 5 so far.
At 81 in 10.5 with 8 wickets in hand, you got to say his Blazers are cruising towards the target with 2 set batters in the middle. But you know the reputation and the prowess of Silicon Valley strikers. That's a poor delivery that's been put away. Now, poor deliveries will be put away irrespective of what this scorecard reads.
That one airborne just long enough to give us pause. Thought maybe the man over at Fine Leg might have a play on it, but well wide of him.
And David White is one of the best cricketers in sweeping the cricket ball. It's very puzzling that the backward square wasn't fine on that occasion. He's gone after it again. He's gone for it once again. This time doesn't get it from the best part of the bat. Slightly quicker from Suri, who's a quick learner.
That's that variation of paces that we've seen throughout. Same as in baseball or softball. Hitting is timing, bowling, disrupting timing.
It just opens the face of the bat. This is such a treat to watch, especially for a connoisseur of the longer format of the game. You tell me it's not colored clothing, I'll believe you.
personally a big fan of the test match format myself. It's funny, I've seen a lot of arguments recently about the value of ODIs in particular. It's been this, and I'm certainly in that kind of camp. I like the T20s, I like the test matches. ODIs haven't warmed to them yet.
But I'll tell you what, yes, it finds itself as in between, kid. But irrespective of the complaints, I will play T20s more, but I'll tell you what, it's the most exciting, and commercially as well, it takes care of the other formats, its brothers. Oh, a good dive. Keeps it down to a single. Easily could have been more with this kind of an outfield. It's always heartwarming to see a pace bowler diving full length. 10 overs gone, 93 for 2 East Bay Blazers.
See, 90 for 2 here. 3 runs. Now it's shifted here.
At the halfway stage, 93 for 2 East Bay Blazers, 74 required with 8 wickets in hand. I'm Suhas Vedam, joined by Joe Hickey. Joe, this looks in the territory for East Bay Blazers, but as we've so often seen, if you're going to rule Silicon Valley strikers out of any equation, do so at your own peril.
Without doubt, they've found all sorts of ways to win, defending small totals, chasing down big ones. It really doesn't seem to matter what you do. They're going to make it interesting, and most of the time they're going to come out on top. But for the Blazers, a really important one here, a reminder of where we sit playoff-wise. They are tied right now at 7-3 and nearly the same run rate as Seattle.
Yeah, the net run rate column as well. This tournament's getting nicely spiced up, and it's reached a time when you got to look at not just the front or the first column of the points table, the last column of the points table is equally effective. Oh, good ball. And very well dealt with as well. This is good cricket all around.
Yeah, nice start so far here from Zahid Zakhail. Just his third over of bowling so far in this competition. He's given up 22 runs off of his first 2. Still looking for his first minor league cricket wicket.
Now, as soon as you realize that the pitch is doing something for the spinners, Zahid Zakhail can be that dynamic player who will give you the overs with the ball in hand as well. And that's what is an added advantage for Silicon Valley strikers. That's an excellent stop by Kulvinder Singh. Relied on slapping it back into play rather than collecting it cleanly, and that's the right thing to do when you're patrolling the boundary rope.
Anything to save runs at this point.
Yeah.
Every little bit counts. Well poised right now, the Blazers. Pereira helps that one around the corner. Ugarkar ready at fine leg. He'll take care of that. 1 from it.
Well, it's been a quiet over. The reputation of Silicon Valley strikers would want you to say that the game's still in the balance because you never know, one wicket can bring another. As far as David White is concerned, along with Angelo Pereira, the extremely seasoned campaigner, they would want to believe it's in their pocket. But still a long way to go. 70 is a long way to go indeed. Catch it is the call. Thank you is the answer. David White, a lapse in concentration. Zahid Zakhail persists and picks up a wicket. Silicon Valley strikers find a way to get the breakthrough. A team which is giving the Undertaker a run for his money with a streak. Can they continue?
So far, 14 in a row dating back to last season, and we mentioned at the top of the broadcast a chance to clinch the Western Division, make sure that they're here at home. They want that prize, would give them a chance to rest up a little bit the next 2 weeks against the SoCal teams, perhaps deploy a few lesser used players, get them some time and some seasoning, and it's within sight because you know what they can do here with the ball in hand. You can go bang, 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 and next thing you know, your head's spinning.
A hiccup for the East Bay Blazers. How well will they conquer it, or will they ever be able to? This phase is an important phase of the game. Sanjay Krishnamurthy has come out to bat. He's searching for the middle of the bat more often than not in this tournament. Would want to believe today is the day. And someone in a similar mindset but with a plethora of experience is standing on the other side of Sanjay Krishnamurthy.
Yeah, Sanjay so far on the season, an average of just 6.2, 31 runs from 31 balls faced, has not really had a long day at the crease so far this season, and that standing in stark contrast to what he brought to the crease last year. Last year's performance with bat in hand, 215 runs, had the 7th best average in minor league cricket. So dropping from 47, or 43 rather, all the way down to 6. It's precipitous, I think is the word that works for that.
Oh, good ball once again. Zahid Zakil, he's got such a lovely slow approach. Reminds me so much of Ravindra Jadeja.
That'll bring an end to the over. Big wicket taken. David White shown the door, just 5 from it. Good work from Zahid Zakil here, the part-time bowler. 98 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Three in 11 overs, East Bay Blazers chasing 167. Now quite content in nurdling the ball around, picking up singles here. Equations well under control. Again, just tells you the importance of the first 6 overs. Knock off as many runs as possible with just 2 fielders patrolling the boundary rope.
That'll certainly keep you in it as late as possible. Some really great work by Himanish Ganju of ESPN Cricinfo. He's done some regression analysis about what a good chase should look like at about this point. That one just barely shy of the fielder and will get through Gary Graham. Will it make the boundary rope? Nice work out there by Thadani. Flips it to Singh. That'll limit it to 2 instead of the 4 that it looked like it might be for just a moment. Of course, initially, looked like it might be a wicket.
These are the little moments that Silicon Valley strikers would want to go their way. It's a team that creates opportunities, converts half chances, and East Bay Blazers would breathe a sigh of relief with that ball not landing in the hands of Gary Graham, one of the better fielders too. Angelo Pereira, he's providing a sense of calm in the middle for East Bay Blazers as he picks up a single, brings up this century for East Bay Blazers. Again, the scorecards seem to not like me much. They load a little later on there. 102 for 3 at the moment though.
That one goes leg side for a wide. Returning though to that analysis, what he suggests is that generally speaking in a T20, having about 70 runs to knock off with 4 wickets down, that's the break-even point. You got a 50-50 shot of chasing it down. So East Bay very much to the happy side of that. Pair of dot balls on these deliveries to Krishnamurthy, but they're sitting at 65 runs away, and they do have 1 more wicket in hand. So they would seem to be a bit ahead of it. Maybe internal win viz somewhere around 65-35, something like that.
That's 65-35. They take it at this point, isn't it? Against the strikers. That's the benefit of covering a tournament of this kind, isn't it? The 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. You know that a side on reputation could be better, man-to-man could be better, but it's about the kind of cricket that they display on that particular day, and they are being given a run for their money by East Bay Blazers, who've been terrific with the run chase so far. 104 for 3 in 12. 62 required of 8 overs, 7 wickets in hand for East Bay Blazers. The setup has been done. Now it's about the finish. Angelo Pereira would believe, Joe, that he's got at least a couple more overs to noodle the ball around before he reassesses the score.
Yeah, at this point, continuing on, a run of ball continues to just about knock off what you need. So no reason to take any unnecessary risks. You want to try and maintain those wickets. You know you still have Vikash Mohan in the shed, and Arshdeep Brar can be useful. Woof.
Oh, glorious shot to the last moment. Kept everyone guessing, will that be a boundary or no? Despite the dive, the ball will go for 4. Now Angelo Pereira has decided the time's enough. And this time he will go for a big shot.
Like that, just about every time we've said reassess, maybe take it easy, the next hit is a boundary. It's got to be the 3rd or 4th time it's happened today.
I tell you what, to all the viewers, the commentator's curse can be the other way too. Now, what the East Bay Blazers would want to believe that as big a myth as commentators' curse is the streak of Silicon Valley strikers. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. So very well placed. We'll get 2. This is one of the best shots today. So very often, especially in T20 cricket, we get wondered and we get in awe of the big shots which go for 6s and 4s, but it's the little moments of play when you know that you've got a boundary, but you've got to convert the singles into 2s to ensure that you draw the fielders in the deep a little forward, expecting another shot of a similar kind. These are the little battles which teach you a lot of things in cricket.
Angie Pereira right there, maybe a little rush of blood to the head, did look for the big shot after the delicate one and the classy one a moment ago. Has to watch out. He was stumped last time that these two teams faced off with each other, and it was a big moment in that match.
He's gone back to the better denomination in terms of risk assessment, a single.
With that, Pereira over 20 for the first time since his 58 down in Texas. So not exactly a milestone we track in cricket, but still a bit of good news. Looking to find that form as you discussed when he came in, Suhas.
Yeah, Angelo Pereira, because of the short form of cricket that he plays, including the T10 format all around the world, you know that he could be the destructive batter that the world has seen. But coming into this league is assumed a different kind of responsibility, and I genuinely believe the captaincy has also mellowed him down a little bit to play a longer innings, noodle the ball around, and carry his team home.
One, two, three.
over so far under his belt, or excuse me, rather, has had 2. He's given up 25 runs. He's been targeted.
I'm going to get this.
Krishnamurthy looking to get a move on as Angelo Pereira keeps things going. Both these guys maybe in need of a little bit of Sunoco. Something to get this chase across the finish line. A lot of discussion right here as the field is being set exquisitely here for Kulvinder Singh. A lot of care being taken. Deep man at third man there is Pranay Suri. Straight up in the air, Rahul Jariwala camps under it. That is about as easy as it gets. And Sanjay Krishnamurthy's stay at the crease, yet again, a bit on the brief side. 3 from 7 deliveries.
Once again, that conundrum where the youngster believes he offered the face of the bat but gets the top edge. Oh, that will be a long walk back. He is having a miserable season with a bat in hand. Yes, he is chipping with a ball, of course, chipping in with wickets, but that is going to hurt.
And certainly not what they needed at this point. They're really going to bring out the last dedicated batsman they have there in Vikash Mohan. Haven't really seen a whole lot so far from Arshdeep Brar or Gurbaksh Khaira this season, and I don't think you want to leave this again in the hands of Nawaz Khan. It went well last week, but I don't know that you can count on that week in, week out. So you'd imagine it's got to be this pairing, the captain and Vikash Mohan, looking to bring the Blazers home.
The Silicon Valley strikers would want to rewind the clock. Vikash Mohan wouldn't want to do so. He would want to start afresh, believe in his abilities.
Vikash good for 16 off of 16 last time he faced these Silicon Valley strikers 3 weeks back. He was run out. That was one of 3 in that game. The strikers having some, or rather the Blazers having some issues between the wickets to go along with the ones they had in the field in that match. And the finest of margins to decide that one.
And I'll tell you what, Vikash Mohan up against Kulvinder Singh. Different scenario, the same game of cricket. Is there an inkling of wanting to continue from where he left off in the previous game? The time will tell. Kulvinder Singh will steam in as always. A poor delivery. He's got to re-ball this one.
Have a wide ball to start here as the over somewhat re-begins. 1 ball already from it, the wicket of Sanjay Krishnamurthy. 2 balls in now, yet to, or excuse me, rather still 1 ball officially in. And a wide and a free run. Second one in on the pads. Looks like that's going a bit down leg. Umpire not interested. Half-hearted appeal. Attempt down at the non-striker's end for the direct hit. Does not go through.
I'm very surprised by the line of attack here for a new man like Vikash Mohan. Keeping it on his legs for the second time successively. This time finds it easy to pick up a single on the vacant leg side. Angelo Pereira. He needs a bit of consistency. I would want to believe if he can take his team over the line, and that will do a world of confidence to East Bay Blazers as a side itself when they see the captain performing. Oh, that's from the middle of the bat. And no half measures. Angelo Pereira gets it right, and he sent a statement to the opposition.
Just like that, you've got your 7 for the over. A chance to play with house money for the remainder of this, and we've seen a little bit of that from both him and from Vikash Mohan. I recall a chase against Golden State that was nearly made a hash of, and Vikash at the very end of it had a shot very similar to that one, targeting the sight screen, just saying, I'm done with this. I don't know why it's taken this long, but time to get it done with. And I think especially the quality of death bowling that Silicon Valley have, you've got to try to get it done sooner rather than later.
Oh, I am with you on that one, Joe. Oh, this is so good to watch.
Quick single taken.
Oh, he's barging into the bowler and will pick up 2. That shot was always supposed to be a single. Thanks to the overthrow, it becomes 2. Such proactive running, and this is, mind you, all while dealing with a boulder while he was running to the other end.
Indeed. If anything, it almost looked like Pereira used him to reset his direction back the other way. It looked like a pretty elastic collision, to be honest.
You mean to say that he rebounded so much that it allowed him to take the second?
Yeah, picked up a little speed that way. That can work.
Oh, Pereira. Powerful and also gaining consistency. Now, much like Lakshmi House of Spices Masuri rice that I absolutely love for the consistency and aroma. Now Vikash Mohan will get a word of advice from Captain Angelo, who's been there for a while, understood the surface, understands the situation better. 62 in 8 with 7 wickets in hand. You understand that you want to get it done in about 7 overs. At least plan to do so. And balls of this kind will help you to get there. Agarkar, as quick as his run-up, will not be able to get there in time.
Just the slightest of edges there, guided back behind by Vikash Mohan, and Agarkar running right at us. No half measures there. He was at full tilt trying to find it, but no such luck. Not quite enough Sunoco, and unable to chase it down. Another 4 there to finish off the over. We're about ready for the death overs here in Morgan Hill. 133 for 4.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
'22 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Now another exciting game of cricket that we served to you. 62 runs required in 8 overs with 7 wickets in hand for East Bay Blazers. If on first glance this equation might look like East Bay Blazers are cruising towards it, mind you, with the surface playing tricks and the death bowling prowess of Silicon Valley strikers, they will not go down without a fight. The strike.
And looking to strike right here will be Raymond Reefer. He's been good for a wicket every 10.4 balls bowled inside the death overs. He'll be partnering with Saurabh Netravalkar, who's taking one every 5.4 balls in the death overs. So a few guys who live up to the name striker, without doubt.
There's a different kind of a bowler when the batter is coming after him, isn't it? Saurabh Netravalkar likes it. In fact, it's in his zone. For the moment, Raymond Reefer inside out, holding his shape, guides it in the gap. This is one of the best shots of the game.
Hold the pose for the cameraman at DAFA News. That was absolutely gorgeous. Angelo Pereira on a bit of a run right now and looking to contend for shot of the week this season, or this week rather, in minor league cricket.
They're so elegant as he eases into that shot. He didn't try to hit it hard at all. Concentrates only on timing and placement, and those 2 ingredients are enough to brew for. Raymond Reefer has got some thinking to do. The first ball he runs in disappears for 4. Gets a word of advice from Unmukt, and I think it is about watching the batter till the last moment and changing his angle. Change of angle here for Raymond Reefer. Attack the stumps.
Manages to work that one off of the face of the bat, guide it down to third man. Kulvinder Singh up with it, just a single from that one.
Now Angelo Pereira has quietly moved on to 40 of 27. And I'll tell you what, this is the kind of innings that East Bay Blazers wanted their captain to get as soon as possible. It's come a little late in the tournament, but never late than... It's better late than never.
Well, to be fair, besides the slow start they had to the season, going 1-2 and falling in this one, it hasn't cost them really a ton at this point to have Pereira not firing on all cylinders, but they could be legitimately a scary team to deal with in the postseason if he does. from this over for them to continue to knock this out. But I don't think they want to go to a 20th trying to get 5 again. Bit of a false start there from Zakil.
He's also watching Nawaz's move, every single move. Is Nawaz trying to gear up for a shot on the leg side again? Does the wind not matter? Does the distance on the leg side not matter? Because that's the longer part of the boundary as well. It doesn't, it seems. The jump is just customary. The ball will sail, and our camera person Andrew is absolutely ecstatic with panning the ball, panning the camera, because he almost set up for that pan. He knew it was going to go leg side. The world knew it was going to go leg side.
Just like that, a pair of 6s. That's 12 of the 26 runs they still needed. Knocked off 14 off 18. East Bay looking to ease into cruise control as we hit the final 3 overs. 153 for 5.
1, 2, 3.
14 required of 3. Unmukh Chand would be having a conversation with his bowlers to make 14 look as big as possible. The fielders will have to chip in, Joe. It cannot be a single-handed effort. It's got to be a team effort from here if Silicon Valley Strikers want to continue the streak. They've got the best man to do the job. Silicon Valley Strikers, Saurabh Netravalkar, with a ton of experience.
Yeah, the tricky bit here is he's going to start off against Angelo Pereira, who more than most has seemed relatively comfortable navigating the deliveries from Netravalkar. We'll see if I end up cursing him for that, but...
Oh, Joe. And I'll tell you what, just adding to your point, Saurabh Netravalkar, you know that he's a threat, and that is exactly why Angelo Pereira perhaps instructed someone like Nawaz to go for the big shot in that over itself. And he cleared on both occasions.
Exactly. They've known they've been able to get runs off of Reefer and off of Kulvinder Singh. They've only gotten 11 off of Netravalkar, but these are his last 6 deliveries. They got 2 more overs after that, but here we go. A 4 guided wide of third man. And 14 is now 10.
All the East Bay Blazers fans, the countdown has begun. Width on offer, gets the elevation, and Angelo Pereira just growing from strength to strength as he's inching towards what would be a very good half century. Will not be a milestone to cherish for him. What will be a milestone to cherish would be 167.
Not far away now, 10 runs away.
Saurabh Netravalkar as it runs in this absolute silence. Oh, that is beautifully played. This is all about guiding the ball into the gap. That was a poor delivery, a yorker gone wrong. Even the best in the business, the pressure can get to you. That is what makes this game called cricket so very effective and exciting, isn't it? You don't know what's going to happen even to the best in the business. 9 out of 10 times that yorker would have landed where it had to, but not on that occasion.
Well, of course, at a moment like that, you've got to take the risk. Really, the only way that Silicon Valley is getting out of this, it's not going to be by restraining run rate. It's going to be by taking a few wickets and getting some unsure batsmen out there instead of the very well-set Angelo Pereira, now a run shy of that half century.
Yeah, he's taken 31 balls to get to 49. Oh, this one kept low, but he was up for the task. That boundary meant a single would suffice. 50 up for the skipper. The bat raise hasn't come. He's given the glance to the applauding, the applause that's coming from the dugout. 50 up and a much needed 50. That'll do a world of confidence to Angelo Pereira, but subdued celebrations as he's saving it perhaps for 5 more runs to be scored. 5 required in 2.3 overs. The only thing that can get Silicon Valley Strikers back into this game with a set batter and a batter dealing in 6s is wickets, not just dot balls, but wickets.
Netravalkar would usually be the one to take them at this point.
And he's listening to you. This could be the wicket indeed. Nawaz Khan skied it straight into the hands. That's a good catch under pressure.
Zahid Zakil camped under it there at square leg. He has been very useful in the field so far today and brings an awful lot to this team. The Afghanistani with international experience had been on the verge perhaps of a test cap when forced to leave Kabul and make his way here to the United States of America and looking to rebuild that cricket career here in the States.
And so far so good for him because he's been good with the bat. Not in this game perhaps, but he's been good with the bat. He's been tremendous with the ball in hand in this particular match and now chipping in with those catches too. So gun fielder. Watch out for the throw as well that usually Zakil provides. A wicket is a very irritating prospect for Angelo Pereira, who's trying to get things done, get things finished. He'd given the license to Nawaz to go for the glory shot to finish it off. Nawaz didn't connect on that occasion.
So it'll be Gurbaksh Singh Khaira to come in.
Gurbaksh Singh Khaira held back today. A different role for him. And the only two words that would have been exchanged between the captain and Gurbaksh Singh Khaira would be sensible batting. Mind you, this game's being played not in October. The rules will change after October. Look who's facing. It's the captain because they crossed.
So for the time being, sensible running is the big thing. Don't run into an out. It's absolutely a mantra in baseball. Same goes here. Just 5 runs away. One swing could get it done. Nawaz tried. Let's see what Angelo's got.
Saurabh's looking for the same, a swing, but this time with the ball. Can he generate that swing? Oh, good delivery. Angelo Pereira wants that single. He's taking the fielder on and will get there easily. He's doing the basics right as well by dragging the bat. Angelo Pereira wants to get this done and dusted with as quickly as possible, but at the same time, as prudently as possible.
When Khaira was off like he was shot out of a cannon, I think that's what that discussion was about. Like, be ready. Let's go get it.
There are very many routes to get to those 5 runs or 6 runs. One of them is singles. That's because of the number of balls still left in the bank.
Just 4 needed now.
Last ball of Saurabh Netrawalkar. He's been tidy. He's picked up 2 wickets in 3.5 and given away 21. The economy 5.5. Just not good enough on the occasion. Wants that third man inside the circle. In fact, a flying slip. Gurbaksh Singh Khaira will hit it only as far as the bowler in his follow-through. A dot ball to finish the over. Just 4 away from victory here. East Bay Blazers 163 for 6.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
1-2 start, but now just looking at where they're at, 7 wins in their last 8. Their losses this season have only been to 2 teams that are going to win their divisions, and the 1 loss to the Seattle Thunderbolts on opening weekend. Just the entire way, it has been a dominant performance. They now absolutely in the catbird seat for that second playoff spot.
Excruciatingly close it was the first game that they played against the same opponent, East Bay Blazers, and Silicon Valley Strikers were able to defend a slow, good target. And there were some memories that had to be wiped off, and that can only be done so with a game of this kind, a performance of this kind. You could see the relief on the face of Captain Angelo Pereira as he stays there till the end to see his team through. It's been a phenomenal game of cricket, and we over here from Morgan Hill have enjoyed bringing every bit of this to you. I'm Suhas Vedam, joined by Joe Hickey.
Absolutely, and we're thrilled to have you here, Suhas, coming up the road to join us here in Morgan Hill. A reminder, next week we've got a cricket festival up here. 7 games in 4 over the course of 2 days, August 6th and 7th. Every Western Division team will be here as the playoff race hits its home stretch. Sounds like heaven to me. Until then, for Andrew Grindle on the cameras, Bud Jadabans at the controls, and again, Suhas Vedam, my comms partner today, this is Joe Hickey saying so long from Morgan Hill. Hoping you'll join us next Saturday for more Toyota Minor League Cricket fueled by Sunoco. So long, everybody.
Awesome. Good?
We good?
To Kulvinder Singh, can he earn it back with a couple of wafts? That's a poor ball, and it was never to be seen again. Saideep Ganesh is holding his pose. It was a poor delivery, one was asking to be hit away. The full toss, but he stuck it away in the right area. Would be running away to the fence for 4. 10 runs of the first 2. Kulvinder under pressure.
And that wicket-keeper role, I know I got to see him against the Hollywood Master Blasters, but perhaps a game where you try out some folks that aren't seeing much time. There's another beautiful shot.
In fact, he's gone for 14 in his first 3. And more runs this time. Would it be taken? Oh, almost did. Almost took the catch. Kulvinder had his... He's put in the hard yards, but this one's slightly up in the air. Will be taken. Saurabh Netravalkar's playing it down. He's not celebrating at all.
You've already had success against Singh. Maybe get ready to target him.
Perhaps no. If it's there in the slot, he will go after it.
Maybe just a question of the choice of personnel.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot indeed. That's a shot that you can't set a field to as well. And play shots of this kind. Will Reefer get to it? Oh no, it's Primus. Primus gets there. Silicon Valley Strikers can definitely find someone as a replacement for Primus as a fielder, but not as a bowler. Oh, what a shot this one is. Straight down the ground, full of authority.
Plum in front.
Catch it is the call, just over the fielder at point. And in the first 6 overs, there's no stopping that once it clears the infield. Who again got a start. Meant that he has to go after the bowling as well, like he does this time around, easing into the dive. And the drive will fetch him for...
in place of the injured Roshan Primus, currently seeking care. Comes the final ball of the over. That one is just barely wide of a leaping man. It covers.
The players coming in at number 3 are batting very freely.
There is immediately one back over the bowler's head. Long run, not gonna get there. And down here, didn't threaten a no result or anything, but here comes Pranay Suri. That one is going to split Zakil and the square leg umpire. And he turns on the first delivery from Ugarkar, a rude greeting. Here to target with the embarrassment of riches. Silicon Valley have great ball there on the 3rd, so deep protection all in front of Mark Dayal as this one is delivered. Dayal turns, swivels, and destroys. That one headed towards the pavilion. Dayal now with a nice flick. That one splits the fielders. And Dayal there able to make good use of the length on that last one. That's a good one. It is a flick behind and caught by Jariwala, and that will be the end of Mark Dayal.
Batters in the middle, but you know the reputation and the prowess of Silicon Valley Strikers. That's a poor delivery that's been put away. 70 is a long way to go indeed. Catch it is the call. Thank you is the answer. David White, a lapse in concentration. Zahid Zakil persists and picks up a wicket.
You still have Vikash Mohan in the shed, and Arshdeep Brar can be useful. Woof.
Oh, glorious shot. to the last moment.
Man, there is Pranay Suri. Straight up in the air, Rahul Jariwala camps under it. That is about as easy as it gets. And Sanjay Krishnamurthy's stay at the crease yet again a bit on the brief side. 3 from 7 deliveries.
Blazers is a side itself when they see the captain performing. Oh, that's from the middle of the bat. And no half measures. Angelo Pereira gets it right. About 7 overs. At least plan to do so. And balls of this kind will help you to get there. Agarkar, as quick as his run-up, will not be able to get there in time. It's in his zone. For the moment, Raymond Reefer, inside out, holding his shape, guides it in the gap. This is one of the best shots. Does the distance on the leg side not matter, because that's the longer part of the boundary as well? It doesn't, it seems. The jump is just customary.
Saying they've only gotten 11 off of Netravalkar, but these are his last 6 deliveries. They got 2 more overs after that, but here we go. A 4 guided wide of third man.
As it runs in this absolute silence. Oh, that is beautifully played. This is all about guiding to get to 49. Oh, this one kept low, but he was up for the task. That boundary meant a single would suffice. 50 up for the skipper. The bat raise hasn't come. He's given the glance to the applauding.
Will be the one to take them at this point.
And he's listening to you. This could be the wicket indeed. Nawaz Khan skied it straight into the hands. That's a good catch under pressure.
Zahid Zakil camped under it there at square leg.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.